All right, everybody, welcome. It's episode 6 of the Geekdom101 Super Magic Show. I hope you're doing really well today. It is November 10th, 2024, and we have hit the month that is the 40-year anniversary of Dragon Ball. And on this video, on this stream, I will be joined momentarily by our special guest. We're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Daima episode 6 and Dragon Ball Super. We're going to be discussing the future of Dragon Ball Super and where we go after the granola arc and where we go with the next film, should that be coming out soon. So first of all, I hope you guys are having a really good day today. Make sure you share out this stream. Later on today, on this stream, we will be taking calls. I will leave a link in the chat for you to call in and speak to me and my guest, and we're going to be taking your theories. So the idea behind this is we're going to take your theories, we're going to sort of mold them and shape them into like something we could produce for the show, or just say, hey, it's good enough the way it is. We'll see. It just depends. We'll talk to you about it. It'll be a good time. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you're going to call in, though, make sure you have a camera and a mic, preferably one that works. If you have a smartphone, where the hell's, there's my phone. Smartphones, the better the camera, the better the mic, the better for us. Because if it starts giving us a lot of background noise and stuff, we might not have to keep you on. We want the stream to sound really, really good. So anyways, again, I hope you guys are doing really well. I did just get back a few minutes ago from seeing Daima in theaters, the English dub premiere. I'll be doing a separate video on that, giving my thoughts either tonight or tomorrow here on the channel. So that's how it's going to go down. First of all, let me go ahead and before we go any further, bring over our special guest. He's been a frequent collaborator here on the channel. He's a guy who I've done videos with him where we've had a good time sort of doing what we're doing here, discussing what Dragon Ball could do in the future, coming up with movie pitches and plot pitches and arc pitches. And it's been kind of like he's the guy I like to bring on when we start doing creative writing and things of that nature. Please welcome back to Geekdom 101, Mark from KRW Network, otherwise known as Real to Real. Welcome back.
What's up, Danny? Thank you so much for having me on. We've been planning this for like the last couple of weeks, so it's finally good to be on here to talk to everyone about Dragon Ball Daima, Dragon Ball Super, all the theories that everybody can come up with, and just in general, episode 6 and the future of Super going forward.
Yeah, the thing is, I haven't even talked too much about Super because there hasn't been anything from Super since March. There's rumors of a new movie coming out. There's lots of different things that are sort of, being bandied about. There's a Dragon Ball panel planned for Jump Festa that does not guarantee an announcement, though, although some think there will be. At the very least, I think the manga should continue, although it's becoming more and more difficult because we don't know where they're going to go with it. But I want to save that talk for later on in the stream. First of all, I want to talk to you about Daima because you were one of the ones that was a bit skeptical on the show. And I will admit, and I've said this before, what they did, because I remember I let you in on what they were doing before it was public. I told you that they were going to turn Goku into a kid again. And the thing that's funny about it is I remember when I told Quinn this, I go, they're turning Goku into a kid again. He's like, it was like GT. I go, yeah. He goes, I know you're not lying to me. And I know it's 100% true what you're saying. I go, how do you know? He goes, because it's so wacky and so strange that Toriyama would do it. And it's like, yeah, you can't predict Toriyama's moves. After Broly came out, well, even before then, the Dragon Ball Super 2019 movie, everyone thought it was going to be Yamoshi or some new Saiyan. It was Broly. Then for the sequel, everybody wanted Cooler. I wanted Jiznak the Gusher, bro. That's what I wanted.
That's the best.
You know. Yeah, I wanted Jiznak the Gusher. They still haven't given that to us, maybe in Daima. But instead, we got a superhero, which was androids and a new cell. It's still the old shit coming back. And then here we have Daima. So, but I agreed with you that if I were running Dragon Ball, doing what they're doing in Daima would not have been what I would have done. Obviously, you and I have done tons of videos about things we would do. But I think the main thing about the show that it's its strength is the world building. The characters are still there, and it's actually an interesting new place to explore, which I wanted Super to do with the other universes. Instead, we're getting it in Daima. So give me your initial thoughts on Daima and how you feel about the first 5 episodes.
I think the first episode was pretty much the best it could have possibly been. I watched that first episode kind of by myself. I got up really early in the morning because I don't watch it on Fridays, and I was just like enamored with it. The fact that we were going through pretty much the history and everything in the Boo arc, getting a sense of these new characters, these new worlds and everything, the reintroduction to everyone, fantastic, almost absolutely flawless. And then, quite frankly, and I told you this at the time, going into episode 2 and 3, I felt we were dragging a bit. There was a lot of story going on, but not a whole lot of stuff happening. We weren't moving quick enough. There wasn't enough action. These characters were reduced, kind of in the same way that GT was, where Goku had reached a certain apex in his strength, and then they nerf him by making him smaller again. And he's having the same issues where he doesn't know how to control his ki. He doesn't understand how to control his flight. He hasn't even, I don't believe he's at this point tried to use instant transmission, but I know that was a big thing in Dragon Ball GT where he just simply couldn't get the hang of it because of his new stature. So that, like, it feels very reminiscent of GT in that sense, where a lot is going on and they're kind of trying to balance the humor of having Goku as a kid again, while also trying to explore and understand the new worlds around them. That being said, I did get a chance to catch up on episode 4 and 5 yesterday. Watching them back to back made me really giddy. The fact that they're really starting to introduce characters, this world they're getting into, they're explaining the rules, and they're building up tension and mystery between the characters we know and the stuff that we're constantly figuring out. It's starting to really come together, and it has a one-up on GT in that, especially in those first episodes of GT, they were really riffing off of Dragon Ball, like the very first episodes of Dragon Ball, kind of recreating some of the more classic stories from the first part of the manga. And this is not necessarily doing that. It is introducing its own things, its own characters, its own world, and setting up its own situation. I love the idea now that, like, no one's racing after the Dragon Balls. No one's really doing anything with the Dragon Balls. They're just kind of sitting there. And the reason nobody's going after them, even though they know where they are, is because there are guards and nobody can fight those guards, or at least as far as we know.
Tamagami, bro, the ball gods, which sounds like something you and I would come up with. The gods of balls.
They're gonna fuse, and that's gonna be Jiznak the Gusher. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh no! Don't tease me. Don't. Maybe they should have named the volcano Jiznak the Gusher, but it gushes lava instead of, love mayonnaise.
Yes.
But we're gonna have a good time today. I can tell you're in a good mood, bro. It's always good to have you on because a little peek behind the curtain. You're a very uplifting person. I don't think you know that about yourself. Even though you look like Goma wished for Walter White to be young for the Dragon Balls, and he got you. You're a very and yes, you still look like fucking what's the name of that rapper I said you look like, bro?
I remember you said that. I don't know his name.
I said that, but now I forgot the name of the rapper, dude. The guy from actually I forgot. If I remember the name, I'll remember. But anyways, you are a very uplifting person to talk to, bro. It's always a good time. And so how do you feel about the villains so far and the lore? Because to me, that's the strongest suit is Goma, Degesu, and of course, Dr. Arinsu. Very intriguing, still being kept a mystery. And then we've also got some of the random people in the demon realm, lots of Star Wars stuff, of course. And then how do you feel about Glorio and Pansy so far?
Glorio and Pansy, I think, are really interesting characters. Pansy, in particular, I feel like I warmed up to really quickly. I like the dynamic that she brought to the entire world building. I believe I get in the right person. And then the villains, I don't think we've spent enough time with the villains at this point, at least the ones that we're supposed to be hyper focusing on. It's very hard to understand their intentions, although it seems pretty black and white that they've taken Dende. They want to keep him to create their own Dragon Ball so they don't have these guards around them. They can continue to essentially they can continue to rule, but also get free range on wishes as much as they want. I don't know how that works, and maybe we can get into that with like, yes, they're keeping Dende, but the other Dragon Balls still exist. Can Namekians?
They're just saying that they are unable to defeat the Tamagami, which means
No,
they're
no,
really like they're hyping these guys up to be a serious threat. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I understand that. I'm saying like with Dende, like his original Dragon Balls still exist on Earth. They're just unusable at this point because they use the magic to bring them back after making the last wish, and they're still around. I don't know if Namekians can create several different variations of Dragon Balls at the same time, or whether or not. I mean, we can get into that.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, because Goma said that they're keeping Dende around to make a new set of Dragon Balls.
Right.
But the thing that's weird is they've got Neva there, who in the dub they called him Neva, so it's not that different. But he created the original demonic Dragon Balls, and he was able to use his magic to turn the Earth Dragon Balls back on again. Why can't he just make more Dragon Balls for Goma? Like, there's something. I don't think they've really explained the relationship between Neva and the rest of them, because some people think that he's sort of like their prisoner, while others think he might actually be the secret villain that's like sort of behind everything. I don't know about that, because he seems like a confused old man who doesn't shower. That's what we know about him so far.
But at the same time, like they're the ones saying that they would give him more life. They seem to have all the power. He does seem like a confused old man, but like, yeah, like that would be perfect Toriyama stuff where like this bumbling buffoon old man idiot is like stronger than everyone. And also like this is something that we've gone over multiple times in Dragon Ball. It's like the creators of the Dragon Balls versus, like he created the Tamagami, he created all this stuff. He, like they say that the creator has to be as strong as the thing that he's creating, right? So he might be like, what if they do give him an extra 1,000 years at some point for doing this, and that makes him young again, and he's just like this iteration of Lord Slug.
Saint in the right. Well, Saint Fisuto in the chat says, I thought Dende merely upgraded Kami's Dragon Balls, didn't create his own. That's true. I mean, that is a good point. That's certainly true. But nevertheless, he's saying, is Dende able to make new ones? Especially as a baby, he might not be able to. And also, are they going to wait for him to become like an infant? They're going to wait years. Like, there's a lot of unanswered questions about what their motives are currently. The way I always thought of it in my head, this is all headcanon, is that Neva is obviously thousands of years old, not 1,000, thousands. So I'm guessing when he was younger, he was probably a badass, but now he's probably old and tired. And even though you can keep getting life, so the way that I'm understanding it is, even if you get life added to you artificially with that lava lamp machine, you might still age. So he might still be just old as shit and can't do all the cool stuff he used to do when he was younger without getting tired. So maybe that's their whole thing of why they need Dende. I mean, there's just a lot of things that haven't been answered yet. I do want to get this super chat here. First of all, Cody, thank you for your first donation. He says, how does everyone know Boo wasn't Dabura surprised when he met Boo? I know he's been around since the beginning. Did he spend time in the Demon Realm? They have not revealed if Majin Buu spent time in the Demon Realm, but clearly people, at least the villains, know all about Majin Buu's story. You answered the question somewhat yourself when you said that he's been around since time immemorial. That's what Toriyama said. So the Demon Realm heard of Majin Buu, but shit, King Cold heard of Majin Buu. Like, Majin Buu seems to be this like almost mythical force. Like, it's almost like a rumor that was passed down through the centuries, and people thought it was probably like, made up or a superstition. There's this evil demon that killed up a bunch of gods. And then here we go, he's real. That's the way I interpret it. What do you think?
I feel like, well, I mean, we know that they've actively changed this, right? Like originally he was created, then he was around since the beginning of the time, and now he was
conjured, is what they said. Yeah.
Now he's from the Demon Realm. Like, there's no real answer in the same way that you've argued time and time again, Memoriam. Like, there's no real sense of canon in Dragon Ball, right? Like, it is whatever they say at any given time. So I guess at this point, like, the way I interpret it, and I've really moved beyond this, that anything really generally matters. Like, at least in Daima, I'm taking it as he's from the demon realm, or at least he was at least conjured in the demon realm, and
or he's been there at some point,
or
right?
he's been there, like he's been
Yeah.
around since the beginning of time and got trapped there, was awakened there, or something like that kind of ended up going out of the demon realm into Universe 7 in the same way that the Kais did, and Deborah did, and everybody else from Dragon Ball Z and the Buu arc. I don't necessarily think that it's worth hyper focusing on, because again, as fun as it is to theorize on that level, Dragon Ball is always really upfront with that type of stuff. If they want you to believe that Boo's from Boo's Boo's that,
They would have said it already.
Yeah, like it's whatever they're telling you at any given moment.
Do you think, because Lance last week had some criticisms about Dragon Ball Daima's writing, as far as like the fact that these conversations seem almost like their conversations seem almost forced, like they're clearly this series, and this should not surprise anybody who's been watching the content or following how I've been covering it. Unlike Dragon Ball Super, where Toriyama was writing arc by arc whenever they came to him again, here he's got the whole story mapped out. So they know what the end is. They know what's in the middle. So clearly stuff like, well, Dr. Orintu went to Universe 7 first. That's foreshadowing. Or she's working on some experiments. That's foreshadowing. My leak video went over what those experiments are going to turn out to be. And then you've also got the third eye, this big legendary secret artifact that grants the user power that was lost during the days of Dabura's father, Abuda, whose name is Abura in the English dub, which is not really a bad translation. It's the same thing they did with Dabura. So these things are obviously clues. And I sort of agree with you that, yeah, they would have already said Buu was a demon. But do you think it's kind of forced how some of this information gets out? It's like for the audience kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but like it's classic fish out of water situation, right? Like Goku has no idea about this world or anything else that's going on. There's obviously characters that understand this world, understand how to push him through it, and are kind of trickling information as it goes. But like they're using Goku as that surrogate character in the best way possible, I think. That's kind of my hyper focus is, yes, some of these things feel a little forced. Why are we hyper focusing on this? Why are they talking about this at this specific moment when it has no real connection to anything else that's going on, or showing the audience this? But at the same time, I think they're juggling it really well. I wanted to bring it back to what we were talking about earlier with this being really close to GT. Instead of GT's direction, where they were trying to recreate the fun and games of the original Dragon Ball series by almost recreating some story arcs or plots like verbatim from the original manga and anime, this is doing something a little bit different. It's made Goku weaker again, and he's going through the trials and tribulations of going through the demon realm. And it's almost, to me, coming across like a training arc, or at least like he's getting used to his body as he's doing all this stuff, the extra weight with the air, getting exhausted, finding senzu beans again. It's like kind of going through that. And because of that, for me, with this being like a shonen anime, that's covering up all of these little narrative focused things that are just kind of being addressed, swept under the rug, move forward, everything else that's going on, to the point where by the end of the series, we're going to be able to go back, look at it, and rewatch it and be like, oh, they set up this here, 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 and here. And it didn't really matter that it didn't make sense at the time, because you were hyper focusing on the fun of Goku, making jokes, learning how to fly again, learning how to fight again, learning how all this other stuff. I'm very curious what's going to happen when Vegeta and Piccolo and Bulma and everyone join them eventually, and how that shakes up the entire story. But right now, I think it's working. And those little narrative drops aren't necessarily distracting me in the way that like this is distracting, or I actively dislike this because they're just shoehorning in exposition and all this other stuff that's going to make sense later, or at least be paid off later.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely something that you could tell that they really did put their heart and soul into. Same thing with the writers and also the animators. Let me get this super chat here from Robert Wolf. This is a good question I've been wanting to ask you. He says, I really hope Saiyans aren't demons at this point. It seems like everything is. Yeah, there's a lot of retconning to where the Namekians are demons. You've also got the Supreme Kais or Glins, Gurindos from Universe or from Demon World 2. A lot of pointy-eared people are demons. I don't think it's that many, but I think because we've seen so many Namekians, and now there's theories that Yardrats may be demonic too. Theories, again, not confirmed. What do you think about, I mean, I think the Namekians make sense. I have a theory about the Glins thing, but how do you feel about the demon realm suddenly being like, I guess the hyper, I don't want to say hyper focus because the guy in the chat was like, take a sip anytime they say hyper focus. Well, you're going to be drunk in about a minute or so. You're going to be drunk very soon, bro. But when they focus in on everyone having some kind of roots from the demon realm, you know, it's not everyone literally, but there's a big theory going around now that prior to the Saiyans evolving into humanoid forms, they started as apes from the demon realm because great apes have pointy ears. What do you think about all that?
I know they addressed this in the latest episode of Dragon Ball Daima. I thought it was a lie, and I interpreted it as such.
It was a lie. The Gloria thing, yeah. Lance saw it, and I was like, yeah, it probably was a lie.
It probably was a lie. Although, like, it could be one of those things that just kind of like sets it up. We don't know everything that's, you know. Obviously, we're learning as much as Goku's learning with each individual episode. There could be lies, there could be truth within the lies, and all that stuff. I don't like the idea of Saiyans being from the demon realm, if only because Saiyans are primarily like they're just too special in the world of Dragon Ball. And I know that Daima is not necessarily connected to Super in the same way that like everything that we've been talking about, like continuity is continuity, and you like Daima isn't connected to Super. They're all just kind of their own little things. But
well, it is. It's just not directly connected.
No, exactly.
We're going to talk about the Universe 7 thing in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And like I mean, I know you're talking about the Yardratians or the Yardrat people. Like, I love the fact that those people are probably from the demon realm because of everything that they know, and also what we've seen from the main series and Super. They're from Universe 7. They're from Universe 2. They're like, there's clear implications from Dragon Ball Daima that anybody from the demon realm can go to any universe. I mean, at the very first episode or the second episode or something, they're like, we're going to Universe 7. Like, they are connected for sure. They're not getting rid of those things, but like, yeah, there's implications that certain races can go to various other universes. But with the Saiyans, if we're going to, you know, reach that far into this, the fact that the Saiyans are from Universe 7 and then the parallel universe in Universe 6 has Saiyans as well, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that was just a lie. I don't think Saiyans are from the demon realm, and I really hope they're not, because again, I do agree that would take away something from their origin.
Me too. I would actually prefer that they're not from the D. If they are, I'm not going to be mad, but I don't want them to be. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm okay with the Namekians being part of it. So I do have a little bit of something I wanted to discuss that I noticed today when I went to go see the English dub premiere of Daima. We know the Glins, who are still called Glins in the dub. The Glins, the Gurindo, is the Supreme Kais. Now, in the original interview that Toriyama gave, he talked about the core worlds and how they're all born from fruit. And we see in one of the earlier trailers, I think when was the fourth trailer that came out in September, we literally see a shot of Demon World 2, and there's a lot of greenery there, lots of trees, because the way you see it, like Universe 3 is like Demon World 3, not to get confused, is pink with like the floating islands, and then you've got like the green sky with like the Namekian trees. I could totally see it to where that tree where the Kais are born is in Demon Realm 2. And then, of course, Demon Realm 1 is like the volcanic, kind of looks like hell, the red, the ash. So I'm going to just think that at some point, the Supreme Kai is going to go meet other Glins. I do think so. Now, one of the things that people have been talking about in the chat, and I've been trying to get everybody's information here together so that, you know, we can all talk about it, is the whole Universe 7 thing. Well, Goku, Supreme Kai is in Universe 7 right in front of Goku. Does that not, like, you know, why does that not elicit a reaction? And if you go back, and I had to go back and watch Battle of Gods. If you go back and watch Battle of Gods, when Goku is told that there's 12 universes, it's, you know, he doesn't really react to that. You have to watch Battle of Gods again. He doesn't like say 12 universes, which means he may have already known that or had an idea. What he reacts to is when when Goku says, so the strongest in the universe is, and then Beerus says there's 12 universes. So don't you think they're all filled with strong guys? And that's when Goku gets happy, because Goku doesn't give a damn if there's 100 universes. But if there's strong guys, then he gives a damn. You have to go back and watch Battle of Gods, because I had totally forgotten about this. So there is a possibility that Goku learns about the 12 universes here, but he doesn't care until Beerus says, oh, there are more gods. Also, what do you think about the fusion bugs? Because that's another foreshadowing bit that I think is coming to play later.
Oh, there's no way they don't incorporate that, especially since they hyper focused on it. They expressed what it was and everything. I know that there's been a lot of discussion about, is it, you know, who Gogeta would, who's going to come into play, right? I hyper focus. Hyper focus. There you go. I personally think that there should be a new variant of the fusion. Every fusion technique should create a different alteration of the characters.
I see what you mean.
We'll see how that plays out, but there's no way that that's not going to be of use. In the same way that I personally think, I could be completely wrong, I know, but I was telling you yesterday, is like I think the age stealer technology is going to come back into play sometime here in the future. I think that there's certain things that are going to happen with these Dragon Balls that are going to happen in the future. To go back to your point about Goku learning about different universes and not necessarily caring, that does seem pretty Goku-esque. Like somebody has to actively point out to him that there's strong people in your universe that you've fought your entire life. Maybe there are stronger people in other universes. Like I can imagine him not thinking that himself, and somebody has to actively tell him that, and he gets excited.
And then he gets excited, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm okay with that. I feel like that would be totally fine. And again, like it's just one of those things. Like you keep focusing on, or we can keep focusing on, the fandom keep focusing on, does Daima take place before Super? Do they all take place together? Can you watch them in order? Does one actively, contradict the other? It doesn't necessarily matter. But like, again, I can see that being an interesting way of like, it does take place before Super. They did know about other universes, but they did not care until
Beerus.
Yeah, until they actively got a way of doing it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, I've seen some people say, now I understand this mentality, actually. I do understand this, that Dragon Ball Daima, because it's 6 months after the Majin Buu saga, Trunks' 9th birthday, it's before even Son Goku, a lot of people are saying, well, why are they going back in the timeline and not forward? And look, I have been wanting them to go past the end of Z for a very, very long time. I have been wanting that, and number one, it could be that Toriyama specifically doesn't want to go there. They could be waiting for the manga to do it, but also it could be just they don't want to go there. The thing with me is maybe because I'm used to watching lots of different types of franchises, I watch stuff like Star Wars and Transformers where every new show and movie is in a different part in the timeline. So if I'm watching, let's just say The Force Awakens, right? It's after Return of the Jedi. Okay, this is the new story. And then the next movie that came out was Rogue One, which is a year before, or not a year, the same day in some cases before A New Hope. I don't think that ruins the movie for me. I sort of like the idea of Dragon Ball projects taking place at different time points in the either the 10-year skip or even other places. Like, I like that Daima is this little story. It's not a big story. It's not a very big story. It's a smaller story here, you know, in this little pocket of time. And I like that you don't have to just go forward all the time, especially with these big franchises. I mean, there's always interquels and prequels, and even video games do it. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best Metal Gear Solid game, and it takes place before Metal Gear Solid 1. It doesn't matter to me as long as the story's good. And the thing about Daima is I didn't really start getting excited for it until I found out about the Demon Realm and how it was going to be like a Game of Thrones type of thing where it's like all these different demons want to take over the spot. Do you have we now have confirmation of that with episode 5, how King Kadan wants to be the Supreme Demon King. Like, I sort of like that because of the consequences of the Majin Buu saga, the final arc of the manga. There's something new happening now, because when Beerus came to Earth, it wasn't a consequence of the Majin Buu saga. He had a dream about fucking Super Saiyan God, and a fish told him it would happen. This is more like, okay, like this is only happening because of the Majin Buu saga, and I like that. I like that, and just like how in Superhero, the Magenta and Cell Max and all that, that's all consequences of what happened in the Cell saga, and before that, the Red Ribbon arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You know, with Dragon Ball, the biggest problem with Dragon Ball when you're talking about the ability to tell different stories in different periods of time is it's not so much like a Star Wars thing, because Star Wars has these weird 30 plus or so year breaks between each of the trilogies, right? So like there's a lot of room to play. There's a lot of worlds and characters to explore within like a 30-year time period. And Disney has played in that playground a lot. It's very clear that they don't necessarily want to go into like a post the Rise of Skywalker era, at least not right now. Right, they are.
Well, now they just announced another new trilogy, which is probably not going to happen, bro.
We'll see.
In my video, I wrote, "Yeah, right," because I don't, dude. Come on, man. How many times are they going to pull this game?
I saw that video, and I agree with you. It was like, yeah, like we'll see. I will believe it when I see it at this point. But that's kind of the thing here is like Dragon Ball has that area to play around with, but it is within that 10-year time skip between the death of Majin Buu, or at least Kid Buu, because there's still Majin Buu, and then the introduction of Oob and the ending of the Z arc. You could play in that time period. They certainly have been, and I think that's where everyone's frustration comes from. Is that's kind of the only time you can do that. I think that's the refreshing thing about Dragon Ball Superhero. I mean, where instead of moving past that time skip, you just simply focus on another character that isn't Goku and Vegeta, and you can have this like other story. It doesn't matter whether or not you're coming back to the Red Ribbon Army, Dr. Gero, and Cell, or anybody else like that. You're focusing on Piccolo, you're focusing on Gohan and Pan and everybody else, and everyone else is on the sidelines. That's where I think you can play in that sandbox. But so long as Goku and Vegeta are going to remain the main characters of the series, then people are going to get a little bit annoyed where you're going from one, like you're condensing the timeline so much where, yes, this is a small story, but it's taking place right after the Buu arc. It's going to be this little time capsule of a story, and then Super starts, and that takes place over multiple years, and then GT, the ending of Z, GT, or anything else in that timeline. I think that's the biggest issue. I know, but like what I mean. Like that, we still haven't really gotten further from in the timeline that
we haven't got that part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's nothing that actively contradicts it, other than it just doesn't make sense with everything that has been put in that time period that was supposed to have like nothing happened in this 10 years. Like
I
a
can't
lot of stuff
say
happened.
I know too much. We'll leave it at that. GT will not be a part of the Super and Daima continuity.
That's totally fine with me. That's totally fine with me.
Yeah, GT is almost like it's just a separate continuity, a sequel to Dragon Ball, Z, the anime, and that's the way it's going to just be received. You know what I mean? That's all it should be. I'm just letting you know that like they're not they're not going to remake GT. The closest thing you're going to get is Daima as far as remaking GT, but it's not really a remake. It's just borrowing things from GT here and there, you know. Now, the thing is, some people in the chat were saying that Super is going to get retconned. First of all, Super in and of itself is a retcon, and so is Daima. All this is retcon shit. However, I think what he's saying, because I think people misuse that word retcon, is that Daima will erase Super. That's not happening. That is not happening. Viz Media said GT's canon via its timeline. Viz Media can't even say Vegito, and they say Vegerot. So if that's who you're trusting, my friend. And also find me where it says the word canon, because no one's been able to do that one either, bro. Where's the word canon at from Viz, bro? Find me somebody from Toei who used the word canon, bro. I'm like James Randi. The Amazing Randy had a thing where if anybody can prove they had psychic powers, he'd give them a check for $10,000. I got fucking $3,000. If you find me a statement from Toriyama, I will PayPal you $3,000 if you find me a statement from Toriyama talking about canon, bro. 10 years, no one still found it, bro.
It's gonna be hard now going forward too.
At this rate, yeah, well now it's over, but at this rate, bro, there's a better chance of finding psychic powers for real than of somebody finding Toriyama saying canon. But I don't think that they're going to erase over Super, because Super's not done yet. With the story of Black Frieza, which is going to be our main event topic today, Black Frieza appearing and disappearing, that can't possibly be the end. Now, could they wrap it up as some kind of a movie where they come back to Black Frieza and he's the final villain and they finish him off in the movie? Maybe. It doesn't sound like something Toriyama would do, because it feels like with every new project, it feels like he tries to do something different. And it would be weird of them to release a movie about Black Frieza when he's only been introduced in a manga-only arc so far. However, stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that crazy. But clearly they knew there was more coming, because if you notice, when you watch Superhero, remember, Superhero was produced, pre-production was shortly after Broly came out. Now, clearly they knew that the manga was going to go in some wild directions, because if you watch Superhero without even reading the manga, or even if you watch it, if you know both or if you don't know both, Goku and Vegeta purposely do not use transformations. Now, we know for sure that it's going to be that Goku knows Ultra Instinct. That we knew when the movie was coming out. Then we found out that Vegeta has UE. So he's got that too, but we don't see it in the film. And the reason why it's designed that way is so that people who have only seen the anime and Broly can go see that movie and not be saying, well, where's that format? Because not everybody reads the manga. Unfortunately, in this country, manga is not what it is in Japan. It's just not. But they have something else they're going to do, whether it be a movie, which has been heavily rumored, or whether it be the next arc. Now, a lot of people seem to think that at Jump Festa this December, they're going to announce the return of the manga. We have not had a new manga chapter since March of this year, right when Toriyama passed away. It was the same month. And then Super took a long break. So I don't know for sure if they're going to announce Super. And I'm not going to say that because Lord knows I'm tired of saying they're going to announce Super. And then if it doesn't happen, people are going to once again get on my ass for it. So I'm being serious. I don't know. What I hope happens is that they at least announce the manga coming back, even if it's not the movie or the anime, because there's still a lot of unanswered questions about Black Frieza, the heaters, and when we said who the strongest is, was he talking about Gohan? Was he talking about Frieza? That there's a lot left hanging there. What do you think?
Oh man, I personally think that they need to bring back Super. It feels like I don't even think a movie at this point. I want the manga back, because the
Me
manga is
too.
a source material for any potential future, adaptation into an anime. And you and I were briefly discussing this before we jumped on, and it's like, people can have their perspective on Dragon Ball Super and what's happened since the ending of the main anime, and how the manga has continued the story, especially in the wake of Toriyama's death. But I mean, which hasn't really continued since then, but you know what I mean. The people have their opinions. There's no way in heck that you would miss out on the opportunity of getting those arcs, those characters, those storylines in an animated format for audiences. Daima's good, Daima's interesting, and one of the things you said before we really started talking about it was, I told you, and I know a lot of people told you, they had their reservations of Daima being interesting.
Right, and that's fair.
It's super fair, and I was one of them. I did not think that Daima had, it didn't have the sauce, because who wants to see Goku and everybody else turn back into kids? We're going back into a child-friendly environment and all this other stuff. Lo and behold, the show is shaping up to be much more enjoyable than that. But at the same time, Dragon Ball has been around for decades at this point.
40 years.
Yeah, and a lot of the original fan base still loves it, and they would pay good money to see something more mature, which is the Moro and Granola arc, be animated than they would Dragon Ball Daima, which is
I agree,
yeah.
But my problem is with the whining. See, I can understand people wanted Moro and Granola, and I've said this a million times. First of all, Japan doesn't give a shit what we want.
No,
They
I
just
understand.
don't.
I understand.
They don't give a shit. Like this idea that, if Japan, they read our tweets, dude, you think some 70-year-old guy at Toei who doesn't even have like a Twitter is going to read we should bring back Super. You know how many people have added Toei animation on Twitter and Instagram and asked for more Super? Probably millions at this point. Should they have done it? Absolutely. As a business guy, yeah, make your money, give the fans what they want.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very, and we've talked about this already. I've done a whole video about the Shueisha thing, and it's Shueisha that's in the middle of this. I think Shueisha is a major problem. I really do. I do not like the fact that Shueisha has so much control over Dragon Ball. And I think most Dragon Ball fans, whether you're a dubby, a subby, whether you like Z, Kai, whether you like Super, Daima, or both, you have to agree with me that Shueisha's control over Dragon Ball, I'm not saying I want Disney, because Lord knows we don't need to see that.
Uh-huh.
All right. But Shueisha just, it's so disrespectful, I think, to Toriyama that they're sitting there and they're like having this like fight over who's going to run it or who's going to own it or what. It's dumb to me. The issue is, and I'm going to get to your super chats here in just a moment, but I want to get my point out. I agree with you. They need to get it going. My issue is people that are whining about Super not coming back still, when you're getting a new anime, you're getting new stuff. It might not be what you want, but at least give it a try. And I have noticed that not everyone, but the vast majority of people who have tried Daima have come back with positive feelings, and they've come back saying, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see where it goes. Because ultimately, if you're really a fan of something, you're going to give it a shot. Even the Acolyte, there were all kinds of warnings about how bad it was going to be. But I said, you know what? I like the Jedi stuff. I want to see a High Republic story. I'll check it out. And I stuck with it till the end. Then we've got the Penguin. That's the opposite. When the Penguin was coming out, I was like, I don't know, man. Can they really tell an interesting Penguin story? Boom! Your cat. You keep it up.
Yeah. It's really good.
That's a KRW network special right there.
Exactly. No, I get you, and
I want the Penguin story, but in the demon realm 100 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That would be never awesome.
But like that's the hope and dream for every Dragon Ball fan who's been around for like 30 or so years, 30 plus years, 40 years at this point, if you literally were the first person on that series. We are adults. We want adult-centric content, and we have characters. There are character situations, universes, of content for Dragon Ball that we can have these spin-offs for various characters. I've been a big proponent of, I love Hit. I would love to see like a mature story about Hit in Universe 6 sometime in his 1,000 years of life. Again, like I said earlier, they keep playing in that 10-year sandbox, but like if you just go to another character and you go to another thing, like holy crap, there's just so much to tell and so much interesting stuff to do. Demon Realm, Universe 6, any of the other characters that we've been introduced to over the last decade of content. I do want to make one little clear thing, and I agree with you. Dragon Ball, whether it's Daima, Super, or anything else like that, or a new movie, the reason I think a lot of people are warming up to Daima as it continues to go on, at least from my perspective.
It's getting better, first of all. It actually is getting better, yeah.
But the reason I think specifically why I do, but I've actually talked to people in real life, not just online about this. People I didn't even know who liked Dragon Ball are now starting to talk to me about it. People at my work, is because it's Dragon Ball more so than I think any other anime property in the West is playground content. It's I've said this a lot.
You mean like water cooler talk?
Yeah, it's watercolor talk, but like we're children. We were children when it was first introduced. Like you would talk about it on the playground, the same thing as water cooler talk and everything. Like it is exciting if there's something new and something worth talking about. And that was the drought with Dragon Ball Super for so many years, because once the anime was gone, all you had was the manga, and the manga wasn't terrible, but a lot of people, like you said, like we don't take manga as seriously as they do in Japan, so a lot of people just don't read it.
Well, yeah, that's a fact. I mean, it's the way it is. And but one of the things that I think is pretty beautiful is seeing people take their kids to see Dragon Ball in theaters, whether it be Broly, Superhero, or Daima. That's a nice thing, and I think that's ultimately what that is a nice thing when you can show your kids. Whenever I see somebody say, I showed my kids the Vegeta saga, or I showed my kids OG, like it always puts a smile on my face, because I know that in some cases the kids are watching it dubbed, and I have my issue with the dub, but it's better to start off as a W than not start off at all. And it's better to at least watch the show because it's very entertaining. Like that's the thing. The reason why I think Dragon Ball Daima is now picking up is because the thing about Dragon Ball, and this is something that I think everyone can agree with, you, me, the people in the chat, is that Dragon Ball is a very unique type of shit, because Toriyama's designs are so interesting. The way he draws his characters, the way he comes up with these worlds, the way that these sort of stories play out. Like Dragon Ball is very colorful. There's a lot of color everywhere. We got blue, we got gold, we got red, we got pink. There's all kinds of colors. We've got like, you know, the fighting, and like there's like mythology. It's like Star Wars used to be before Disney got a hold of it. Like it was this vast world that everybody just had warm memories of thinking about. You know, and I think that that's what it has ultimately. So yeah. I want to get these super chats here. We're taking your super chats right now, y'all. So stand by. Your sim enthusiast with the $5 holla. I feel like it's a case how they thought Zamasu was a good fit for Akai. They must check people's hearts to see if they can be trained. Well, yeah, the way that Super explained it to us, he was just a Kai-Osama. He was a regular Kai, not a Supreme Kai, a Kaioshin. And the difference is, though, that unlike the Makaioshin of the Demon Realm, Zamasu started out good. His heart went dark. With the Makaio, it's rotten fruit. However, I think there's a possibility, and I'm going to get your thoughts on this, that Degesu might actually turn out to be a good guy when all is said and done, and might actually turn good by the end.
Yeah, I feel like that's clear. I mean, there was some weird,
it doesn't seem that evil.
No, but there was some weird, what is he hiding? Like, as every other character in this show is like,
Glorio's the big one.
Yeah, like every character has something that they're hiding. So it's really hard to understand, one, who's really going to be a good guy. Like, I would not be surprised if any character that we've come to meet in this show ends up being like a secret bad guy or a secret good guy. There's no understanding of allegiances right now. So I I think that's just as clear as anything else. It's like it's clear as
I like
mud.
that though. It's interesting. That makes the show interesting.
No, sure. I think that's something that's interesting, especially with every episode. There's some new thing, as we talked about earlier, where they like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Like, am I reading too much into this interaction, or is this going to have real legitimate consequences going forward? We just don't know.
Yeah, well, I think Daima I think that when Daima ends, now we talked earlier about whether or not they might come back with more Daima later on. That we don't know yet. But whenever Daima ends, I think the story of Daima will be complete. But I think the Demon Realm possibilities that could obviously be revisited in a movie, and I actually hope we do get it. So I don't think we're done with the Demon Realm forever after that. Let me get to the next super chat here. Connor Burton training. This guy's jacked. Is Frieza's species feasible at being from the demon realm? Telekinesis equals magic power, able to breathe in space, demonic appearance. Thanks. Possibly. A couple of his forms do have horns, but his original form does not. He doesn't have pointy ears either. So all we know about Frieza, all we know is what Toriyama's told us, which is he's from a race that is called the Frieza clan. He never revealed what the real name of the race is, and that the vast majority of them are just normal aliens, but that him and King Cold were mutants, and because of that they were extra strong. So that's all we know. Could they eventually say they came from the demon realm? Yes, but then we get into that problem that me and Mark talked about earlier, where now everyone's from the demon realm, and it's feasible, but I just don't think I would like to see that.
I would be more okay with Frieza being from the demon realm than Goku and the Saiyans, just because, again, like Frieza's just like, as much as we know about Frieza and his father, it's their abnormalities, their mutated versions of their own race. It's possible that they were just, like they were just normal demons, and then. Or King Cold was a normal demon, but he just ended up being super strong.
But be careful, he's not a demon from the demon realm. Just making sure we get that clear.
Exactly. No, like I'm saying, like if you want to explore that direction, I would be more okay with that than the Saiyans, quite frankly. But at this point, just keep them separate. That like kind of in what you were saying earlier with. It would be interesting to explore the demon realm more. I agree with that, but I really hope that Daima does a really good job, as they have been doing, with exploring these 3 different worlds and giving us a sense of them, so we don't really ever have to go back there. I have a feeling that by the end of this story, we're going to, like, Goku and everybody is going to fight the strongest opponents from this realm. So like, at least from the context of Dragon Ball, there might not be a real reason to go back, but you can bring characters in. And I hope that, like, at least from right now, some of the people we've met, I wouldn't want them to just disappear after this. I think that they're interesting enough to keep coming back.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, no different than anywhere else we've been in Dragon Ball. What if some other foe shows up in like 20? Let's just say there's a story after Super. Let's go after Super. Mm-hmm. Goku makes friends with the king of the 3rd demon realm, King Kanan or whatever. What if some asshole shows up and he's like, well, what happens to that strong boy who fought my guys? They go find him. He's an adult now. And then we have to go back to the demon realm. I mean, that in and of itself could be like a Daima season 2 situation. Maybe if they do a second, let's call it like a second, I don't want to say season, because Japan doesn't really see it that way. You could do core, or you could say like a second phase of Daima. Mm-hmm. I would like it if they were adults this time. How's that going to change things? You know, that would be cool. It's different.
No, yeah, I feel like if they're ever going to do more Daima, they need to be adults. I like the kid stuff for what it is, but I think that's one of the reasons people have like a sour taste in their mouth because of GT and everything. They don't want the regression with the characters, so putting them into adults and making them still fight. Like, go into the demon realm, fight new people, explore new things. There's no regression in that character, and people. And I also think
if they do that strategically, people who didn't see Daima, who are just boycotting it for whatever reason, are going to have to go back and now watch it. And then guess what's going to happen? Oh, wow, I regret missing this. This was great. It happens all the time with Dragon Ball, especially when people are going from English dub to subtitle. When I show my subtitled episodes on Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, people are watching it in Japanese and they're like, what you mean all the cursing and all the blood and all the cool shit's got taken out? And it's like a revelation to them. So Connor, what I want to know is, can I get jacked like you on one meal a day? I only eat one meal a day. Do I have to eat more? Let me know. You're sim enthusiast, and it makes sense when you think when they talked about Beerus being a balance between light and darkness, having someone come from darkness be a Kai. I don't remember Beerus being
he's referring back to his old comment with Zamasu and everything.
Right. Okay. But I don't remember them saying that about Beerus, but maybe they're talking about that. I mean, I'm not sure what he's asking though. Like,
well, I think, isn't that like, I could be wrong here, but is he referring to the Kais and the Destroyers being intertwined? Like the Kais of the light.
He was talking about Zamasu and the whole like training. Like
yeah, but
Zamasu,
that's my point. I guess I'm also a little bit confused, but I guess we're too far behind where this comment was made.
That could
it would have been made more sense if we had seen it earlier. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. There's a lot moving in the chat, and we're having a conversation. But somebody coming from darkness to be a Kai, I don't think you're allowed to come from darkness. I think you can become dark, and that's what happened to Zamasu. All right, Robert Wolf said, all these retcons make me wonder how much Toriyama truly cared about the series. He wanted to end it at Namek and was forced to keep it going. Oh, Robert. Should I fucking take him to school, bro? I take him to school?
It's a culture clash.
But that's wrong. He's misinformed.
No, I know, but it's like I'm just saying.
Robert. Okay, no. Here's what we're gonna do. Robert, check out my screen real quick. I'm gonna take your thing down for a minute here. Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen in just a moment. Right? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna show him, Rob. Robert, you have been grossly misinformed. You must be new to the channel, bro, and that's okay if you're new because not everybody has been here forever. Robert, do me a favor, my friend. Do me a huge favor. This will help you. I promise you that, bro. See this video right here, Dragon Ball Z Frieza Saga ending debunk? You probably should watch that video, my friend, because and it's a 6-year-old video. You need to watch that video because you are very misinformed about Toriyama. The series was never going to end at Namek. Toriyama was never forced to do anything. In fact, what you should do is watch every video in the playlist called Dragon Ball Mythbusters so that you're not falling for the filthy lies of the fandom. So please, here it is. Dragon Ball Z Frieza Saga debunk, ending debunk. That's false. Now, back to his question. The man always preferred writing comedy. I wonder if he was unhappy. All of that's wrong. Everything you just said is wrong, bro. He wasn't unhappy. He always wrote comedy, even into Dragon Ball. And he enjoyed doing Daima. And he enjoyed doing even superhero and Broly. This is words that he said himself in the interviews. So he was not unhappy, bro. This man retired in his 40s, a multi-millionaire after working for 15 years straight. I would not be unhappy if I were him. And he still made Dragon Quest and he still did stuff for fun, even though he didn't have to because he was rich. So Toriyama's an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, like to his first point though, like I think he the first point there he was saying was like didn't care about continuity and everything. It's like it.
Well, nobody in Japan cares.
No, that's what I was saying.
Well, nobody at Toei, that is.
It's a culture clash. I mean, I feel like I would be hard pressed to think that like modern like younger Japanese individuals and everything, they probably care a little bit more about continuity because they've been introduced to like the Western culture concept of it. Where
yeah, that's true.
Like, but back then they didn't, and you know, it's also really interesting to me, and this is kind of an off-the-cuff thing, but it's fun to me because Dragon Ball, I think for a lot of people, especially in the 90s and growing up with Dragon Ball, as opposed to all the other cartoons that were out that were more Americanized, like Transformers and all this other stuff, like I felt like Dragon Ball had a more coherent story and continuity, as it were, when you're watching Z on Tanami or something like that, that stuff, I think it's kind of a snake eating its own tail, because I feel like a lot of people in this modern age, especially young men, younger and older men in our generation and younger and everything, gravitated towards anime products for a sense of continuity, a sense of like story on an everyday thing to watch after school. And that, I mean, there was already people watching or reading comic books that were doing that, novels doing that, and all this other stuff. But in terms of young millennial men, that was something that really at least introduced me, as well as a lot of my friends, to like, you had something to look forward to. There was a progression in the story, and there was some type of continuation there. And
Right.
it's really funny to me how
X-Men 92 did that as well. And that's a big show.
Yeah, but that wasn't like that was true, but like that was in syndication a lot. So like they would be playing it, but they would play it out of order. And then you would have to watch it every week and like on Saturdays and stuff.
The Fox Kids run was in order, but the later reruns may have been out of order.
Yeah, no, I mean, for everything I remember seeing was like out of order and everything. And not that it wasn't good, but like
there was an issue with like season 3 where one of the episodes aired out of order. That did happen actually. It's even out of order on Disney Plus now.
But my point, that's funny. but my point there is like it's funny how the snake eats its own tail. Like I think Dragon Ball, for not an inconsiderable amount of younger individuals, was kind of the introduction to like, oh, stories, especially like stories made for younger individuals on television, can have a very coherent story, even though it takes forever to get from point A to point B. And that can translate into like excitement for what's to come, anticipation, like we were talking about earlier, the water cooler talk and everything. But the older fandom now is so gung-ho about like, no, it has to make sense. They said this before, and it has to continue to make sense and be coherent and everything. Well, yeah, but it's so interesting. Like I'm saying, snake eating its own tail. It didn't matter back then. It was revolutionary back then, but now we expect it to be, internally consistent and always consistent. And it's like, I don't think that that's the case anymore. I certainly felt that way back when Dragon Ball Super was coming out, where it's like, I wish this was more consistent with what had come before and after and everything. But now I just don't care. Like if it's good, it's good. Continue to watch it and enjoy the fact that they're giving us more content, not necessarily that it has to align with everything that came before.
I agree. And ultimately, the series ain't over yet. So we'll see more tie-ins later. Kiryu, the Dragon Warrior, says, a bit off topic, but once Moro is confirmed to get animated, do you think they'll add lore that Moro's from the demon realm? Well, if there was one guy who's from the demon realm that they haven't said it's that motherfucker. He's a wizard. He knows a bunch of magic. He's got pointy ears. Yeah, I think that would make perfect sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a really good idea. Actually, I hadn't even thought of that one, but yeah, I would love that.
I talked about it before. I'm like, Moro seems like somebody who would fit right in. Dutch Moon Rocky says, has Toriyama ever given his opinion on the Star Wars sequel trilogy? Also, what does Mark think of the sequel trilogy? Okay, well, before we get to Mark, Toriyama has never given his opinion on the sequel trilogy. We know he loved the original films, and he did an art of Anakin before the prequels came out, so I assume he saw those. I'm not even sure if Toriyama even saw the sequel trilogy. I would assume that he may have, but that's not the concern. The concern is the fact that Toyotaro on his thread said that he loves the Acolyte, which means that if he's taking over Dragon Ball, we're doomed. Because if he liked the Acolyte writing, Dragon Ball's fucked, bro. We're He did say that.
Oh my god, I just love it. We're doomed, dude.
We're doomed, bro. We're doomed.
I don't know.
What do you think about the sequel trilogy? We talked about it, but off air.
Just incredibly inconsistent. I think that there's a lot of really good there. And the funny thing is, like, you and I talk about this off air, but I don't necessarily share this on anything. How much I hate J.J. Abrams. You know me. I'm not J.J. Abrams' number one hater. Like everyone was going off about the Force Awakens, and I was sitting there going like, I fucking hate this guy. So don't mean to cuss. I was like, I really hate this guy. I really hate this guy. I I think every movie he does is really bad and overrated, and none of them hold up well. That movie did great numbers. I mean, huge box office success.
I like the movie.
It doesn't hold up, man.
No, it doesn't hold up, but I liked it when I saw it.
I didn't like it when I saw it, and I went back and rewatched it recently. I own all those movies. I've rewatched them too. The Force Awakens really very, very good film until Han Solo shows up, and then it falls off a cliff. And then I feel like the entire trilogy continues to fall off a cliff from that point onward. It just never really recovers.
There was no direction.
Yeah, no, that's really the case. I cannot for the life of me understand why Disney's approach to Star Wars was, hey, we're going to let auteurs make the episodes like 9, 10, and 11, or
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, and then we're going to hyper focus and hyper control the spinoffs. It should have been the other way around. I don't understand that.
Yes, it should have been the other way around.
So yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the spinoff should have been like, you can do whatever you want as long as you have these parameters. Mm-hmm. This sequel trilogy should have been planned out from the very beginning. You have your two main leads, your main villain and your main good guy, Adam Driver, Ray, or Kylo Ren and Rey. You have their arcs ironed out, mm-hmm. and then you write the rest in. But whatever, bro. I still feel like Star Wars is the absolute biggest blunder in Hollywood history, because they went from being the biggest film franchise of all time. Before Marvel, before Harry Potter, Star Wars was it. And now it's not even the top like 4. You know what I mean? And that's kind of scary.
I do want to say, when it comes to, and I follow box office stuff a lot, I feel like in the modern day discourse about box office and franchises, I do think that people talk about the MCU wrong. The MCU is not a franchise, it's a studio. It would be like me saying, like, well, DreamWorks is a franchise. I know they're all connected, but I don't think
it's a shared universe.
I know they're all connected, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, the Avengers make a lot of money. The movies themselves, that's a franchise. The Iron Man movies are a franchise. But when you're sitting there saying, like, the Iron Man movies, the Captain America movies, Ant-Man movies, Avengers movies, Black Panther movies, all of that stuff is one franchise. I know technically it is, but I feel like there needs to be an asterisk, Thunderbolts asterisk type of disclaimer there, because it's like, dude, it's a studio. It's a like, I don't know. But to your point though, like, yeah, Star Wars, the fact that Star Wars hasn't had a legitimate theatrical movie in
5 years.
And won't have one until 2026. But they've done immense they continue to do immense damage to it with the content that they're putting out. And the fact that Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm sorry, Mandalorian and Grogu, and I know this is completely off topic from a Dragon Ball conversation, but like, Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be a failure. I know those characters are beloved, but I like the Marvels. I know a lot of people didn't. I thought it was enjoyable, like kind of fun.
Shocking.
Yeah. But I had fun with it at the most part. But one thing that movie really did solidify is no one gives a shit about characters introduced on Disney Plus, and then, hey, we introduce these characters, now go pay for a movie ticket to see them. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's almost like a different audience. It's less of the big audience. Yeah. It's sort of like the Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Daima thing. It's similar. Donald Brown says, wouldn't it make sense that there are multiple demon realms, not within 12 universes, but with the multiple timelines? Yeah, but the timelines thing is totally different. Yes, each timeline would theoretically have a different multiverse and a different demon realm. There's no arguing with that, bro. It's not that there's nothing that you said is wrong with that. Yes, that's true. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That is true.
The funny thing about that though is, take the Zamasu and Goku Black arc, right? Like, what happened in the demon realm after Trunks beat Boo, or stopped the Boo situation? So like,
Goma is going through the smartphone and he sees Trunks beating him and he's like, I don't want to fuck with this guy. That's one of them continuity holes that never gets fucking explained.
Right.
That's a plot hole. Like, that actually could be a plot hole. Ricky Chappelle, do you think we'll get Android 21 anime arc? probably not. That's those video game only characters exist in the video game only. In before somebody goes, but Geekdom, she was in Superhero. No, Vomi, who she's based off of, was in Superhero. Now, could we see it sometime down the road? I'm not saying we're never going to see it. I just don't think so because it's so rare. I mean, even Mira and Toa are being remade as Dr. Arinsu and possibly Glorio. So, you know what I mean? It's just not the same thing. Danny, if you had kids, what age would you show them DB? Like 4 or 5, maybe. When they learn how to read so they can watch it subbed. That's the Geekdom answer. Vic Von Doom. People process the same content differently when they binge it as opposed to watching it week by week. That's true. A lot of people who don't like the idea of Daima would enjoy binging it. That's also true. That's also true as well.
Oh, 100%. Like I told you,
in fact, the granola arc is better if you binge it.
Oh, yes. But like I told you, I had to watch episode 4 and 5 of Daima back to back because I had just kind of gotten behind a little bit. Right. And God, it was so much better. Like, I think that was one of the reasons that those 2 episodes picked up for me, not the least of which is that they're more stuff happens and they're better written, but watching them back to back felt really exciting.
Yeah, but also we live in a culture now where now binging is like very normal. When Dragon Ball was first around back in the 90s, in Japan, there was no streaming service. There was no, like, you could buy like, you know, VHS tapes of certain shows, not Dragon Ball, not back then. But binging is something that kind of came along in the streaming era. That's really where binging kind of came from. Even though there was obviously like, hey, if you buy Star Trek The Next Generation, you can watch everything on DVD, but that's after it already aired weekly at one time. So yeah, I do agree with him. Your sim enthusiast, when King Kai was explaining to Goku about Beerus saying that there's a balance between light and darkness, that's what I mean. I don't even remember him saying that. I remember, now I know what he's talking about. That's not what Beerus said. Beerus said that there needs to be a balance between destruction and creation. That's what he said. But that's not light and darkness. He's talking about destruction and then creation. The gods of creation are the Kais, the supreme Kais. The gods of destruction are the gods of destruction, the Hakaishin, like Beerus. They both need to exist. Now I know what he's talking about.
Okay.
I apologize. I hope I didn't sound disrespectful there. I genuinely had no idea some of these weren't true. Sorry again. Didn't mean to sound bad. You didn't sound bad, but you got a lot to catch up on, and that's okay. There's a playlist on the channel called Dragon Ball Mythbusters, and that everybody needs to watch that fucking playlist because, oh, well, Gohan was supposed to be the main character, but the fans threatened Toriyama. Never happened. Oh, Broly, Goku killed Broly because he punched the scar in his stomach. Never happened. Did you know that Toriyama forgot about Launch? Never happened. All that shit's bullshit. You should watch that series. That's probably the most important series on the channel, I think. I think. Thank you, Vic, for the gifted subs. Clapping Cheeks. I love this guy's name. Do you find it interesting that Jiren's master Gook, I forgot how to say his name, bro, had pointy ears? Well, he was killed by a demon too, right? Wasn't that the story?
Something like that, yeah. That was such a quick arc. Again,
well, that was one episode.
Yeah. That was such a quick like explanation into him. And again, I do wish that Dragon Ball would take some time to focus on characters that aren't Goku and Vegeta, but we only can dream on that. I
kind of want excuse me, I kind of want Jiren to go to the demon realm,
just screw everything up. Just like tear
find
through
out
everything.
Who killed his master. Maybe it was Goma. Maybe that's the big surprise.
Oh,
and then they got their suits based on him. I don't know, because Goma has the same colors as the Pride.
That's true.
Danny Baker, I was skeptical on Daima, but the animation is fantastic and the story is growing on me. I'm such a DB fan. Anything is great. Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, you're going to at least try it. And I think if people are satisfied by the final, like, maybe 5 or 6 episodes, that's the most important thing. Because if you don't stick that landing, man, everything before it doesn't feel as good. Look at the Future Trunks arc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to stick the landing. Carmelo Smith just came back from watching Daima dub packed. Yeah, my theater was not packed, but I did see it dubbed. I'll talk more about that in a future video. Son Goku 7. My question: if Goku Black never fused with Zami, he says Zami, how powerful could he be? Could he even get Goku's UI or a different UI divine version? That's a pretty good question. You would think the answer is yes, because if Zamasu's a god, he probably has at least heard of UI. What do you think?
I think he would have continued to train. He understood.
Yeah, but once he killed all the mortals in all the universes, what else is there to do?
Oh, well, yeah, like if there's nobody around, then yeah, like I don't think he really does anything, and that's part of the issue. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I really don't like that arc. Like you saying, like that the last 5 episodes or so, like it just kind of deflates everything for me. But they treated his character so interestingly with like how he utilizes Goku's body and how he decided to go about his plan, that maybe he would have just stopped. There would have been no reason to continue on.
Yeah, I mean, but to your point, if he was smart, maybe he would have retreated when Goku. Well, he's a villain. Villains never do this. But if he wasn't such an evil, maniacal villain, he could have retreated and then trained and eventually got UI. So yes, I think because he's in Goku's power, I think he could have got UI. It may have taken him longer to figure it out, but I think it's possible. Mm-hmm. That's my answer. I mean, I think it's possible. Sure. Kevin Blanco says, if there's a demon realm, then there should be a theory that there's an angel realm counterpart. No, that's not how it works, bro. You're doing that mistake people make where you're taking Judeo-Christian religion and putting it into Dragon Ball. That is not how this works at all. That's not how the Asians even see it, dude. The demon realm is not hell. The angel realm, angels and demons are not counterparts in Dragon Ball. That is not how it works. You're thinking, again, Judeo-Christian. There's heaven, there's hell, there's demons in hell, there's angels in heaven. That doesn't apply in Dragon Ball, bro. That is not how it is in Dragon Ball at all. Dragon Ball is polytheistic mythology. Dragon Ball, you've got angels that are the attendants of the gods of destruction, and that's not how angels work in the Christian mythology at all. And the demon realm is a place of good and bad people. So that is not the same at all, man. You cannot mix Western religion with Dragon Ball. You know, there's some things that are inspired from it, but not in this case. Cody Wood says, I think DB has its own logic. Like, why didn't Bulma build Trunks a spaceship to go to Namek and bring back the Z fighters after Cell couldn't? Yeah, that's called a plot hole is what that is, bro. That's what that's called, a plot hole. And me being the Dragon Ball guy, people think that I somehow always defend Dragon Ball. No, that's a plot hole. Bulma could have built him a ship. He could have gone to Namek and used those balls. That's something that I have noticed since I was like 15. And I still haven't made a video on it, but I think I will someday.
I mean, Daima's the same question too, right? They could have just teleported to Namek, used the 3 wishes to bring Dende back and make themselves older, and then have 1 wish to spare. So like that. Yeah,
well, no, actually, no, because they thought of this. Daima's very well thought out. They used the Namekian balls already in the Majin Buu fight, and it's only been 6 months.
But I thought a Namekian year was like, I can't remember for like off the top of my head, but a Namekian year is like 4 months, right? 4 Earth months?
Something like that. You might be right about that. So by that time, maybe the balls did work.
But not even that. But not even that. Like they could have just been like, they took him hostage, right? So like they're not going to hurt him anytime soon. There was no real major rush.
There was no rush.
They could have just waited. I'm just saying, like, I thought about that too.
But then Glorio showed up, and that's when it was like, well, you got to come with me. Yeah.
Right. And they're not even entirely thinking, like, we have to get older again. They just have to make sure.
Vegeta is.
Well, yeah, but, like, Goku certainly isn't. They want to save Dende, so it's just the story that they're deciding to tell.
Yeah. Vic Von Doom, if you ever were to induct 3 characters from the movies into the current main line, similar to Super Broly, which one would you make most sense to do? We've actually done entire videos on this, you and I, going back years. Mm-hmm. And I've said Cooler is going to make you a lot of money. Janemba is my personal favorite. And the third one that's a tricky one. Honestly,
it's not a character, it's a concept. The Tree of Might.
Well, he said character, but
I know, but like it could be another Saiyan. It could, like, redo Turles. He doesn't have to be a Goku clone.
Right, that's true.
But like the Tree of Might is, I think, it just in terms of a concept, so awesome.
I agree.
When it comes to characters for me, I like reintroducing Cooler, but Metacooler, use what's his name in Dragon Ball Super 7-3?
Oh yeah, OG 7-3.
Yeah, like make him Metacooler.
Or
Or figure out a way to incorporate him and make him Metacooler, the context of him. Like, that to me makes sense.
But he said 3. And that's kind of scraping the surface. I said Janemba and Cooler, and Broly doesn't count because he's already been done. I guess the third one would probably be, I don't want to see Growing Jr. again. I don't care about.
No, not Tarble.
Well, no, because he's Tarbles is in the special.
Who am I? What is his name then? Who am I thinking of? The pointy ear guy in movie 13.
Tapion.
Tapion, that's it. Yeah, Tapion.
Tapion and Hirudegarn. Yeah, because that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought those were good ideas in those movies. Dope says the Tamagami might use the fusion bugs. Just think. Well, they're robots, so.
But that doesn't mean they can't fuse. I feel like
true.
I feel like they're gonna fuse. That's a really good idea, and
I think it's possible that they do fuse. I know of one fight with the Tamagamis that has not been revealed yet, which is actually the Tamagami going against a villain. At least I was told about it, and it's not a good guy. It's not a villain that we know about yet. So that's interesting. But because the Tamagami are not evil, they just have a job to do. They're just there protecting Dragon Balls, and that's it. So. I don't know, but
I mean, the Tamagami could be
they're pretty badass.
They could do a there's 3 of them, right? So you get one Dragon Ball, you fight one, you get another one, you fight one, and then the third one's like a Super 13 situation where the remnants of the other ones that are broken fuse with the last one.
You know what? That's a good idea. I like that. I want them to do that now. They might do it, but I want them to do that now. And it's a 3-way fusion. Mm-hmm. Your mom, what do you think the odds are of getting manga characters such as Moro, Granola, Frieza, Ultra Ego Heaters to Sparking Zero before they're in anime? 0. I've said that I don't know how many times, bro. Mm-hmm. They would have done it by now. And not just 0. It might actually be in the negative digits because they're not even in Dokkan. They're not even in Heroes. 0.
I agree with you that they're 0, but like this is what you're talking about. This is what you were talking about before. Yeah, they're leaving money on the table. They're leaving so much money on the table.
I agree. They everyone I know wants to play as Granola and UE Vegeta and even Miras. Mm-hmm. They are leaving money on the table. I'm with you. Moro's various forms. It's dumb, but I'm not the boss. Don't shoot the messenger. Lazy Rococo with a $10 holla. Do you think Daima will explain Beast Gohan? Toriyama was originally going to have Beast with pale blue skin and scary face. Gohan being trained and having potential unlocked by Namekian and Kai's. Well, you just explained it. First of all, I have heard this before. He's not the first person to ever bring this up to me. We've had others on this very show bring up the fact that Gohan Beast might tie back to Daima. However, the fact that the abilities to unlock Gohan's power came from a Namekian and a Kai, and that somehow maybe that triggered something in Gohan being a hybrid, I like that idea. I can't even say I don't like it. It's sort of like it is a retcon. It would be a retcon, but it's one that is logical, and I think logical retcons make sense.
Right. The funnier version of that is that the Ox King is from the Demon Realm, and so is Chi-Chi.
Well, he's got horns.
Yeah, like so ipso facto, Chi-Chi is, and Gohan is just more than a hybrid than we already knew. But no, I like that a lot better.
Yeah. Actually, I like Lazy Rococo. I like that idea. I don't know if they're going to explain that. In fact, I would probably be leaning more towards they're not going to say that, but I like the idea. You know what I mean? Like I wish they would, but I can't guarantee they will. Okay, Vic. How do you think the warm response to Gohan Black and Sparking Zero speaks to the kind of desires fans have for the series? If you think it does at all, For the last question, concepts are as acceptable as characters. Thanks. Yeah, we passed that. But to your question, I said this on my streams. The Gohan Black storyline and the Trunks storyline in Sparking Zero, the What If, is better than what Super gave us. I hate that ending of the Super anime so much. And yet what Sparking Zero did in both of those instances is actually better than the anime. And it's rare for a game's What If to actually be better than the original story. That's an example of one that even I agree with. Have you played it at all? Do you know what I'm talking about at all?
I literally just bought it this weekend. So no, I know exactly what you're talking about because I've been kind of following the updates. I know the story that they played on there. I have my own theories on what I would have loved to see from that arc. That's not Black
Goten Black.
Yep. But no, I feel like what they did, at least from that What If, is way better than what they put in the manga and the anime because, and this goes back to what you were saying beforehand, like Toriyama, that they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they have a brief outline, but they don't have an idea of how to end things, and that's why that arc really lags, especially in the middle and certainly near the end, where you're just kind of going back and forth. You're going back and forth, and you're doing nothing of real importance. And then the ending is just kind of rushed and feels lame in comparison to the entire buildup at the very beginning. So Gohan Black and what they did with Sparking Zero certainly makes sense. I'm glad they did it too, because it just satisfied that itch for so many people.
No, I mean, and then what they did with Trunks in the Trunks campaign is exactly the ending I wanted. Like the ending that I actually made a video about back then when it was first airing, I came up with the ending of that arc that was not the ending that they actually gave us. And they actually used that ending. I'm not saying they got it from the video because I don't think that's what they did, but because it just felt like it made sense.
Right.
All right, we got a few more here. We got a lot of super chats that just popped in. I'm trying to catch up. I want to take y'all's calls. We got a lot here. Son Goku 7. Let's say Goku's mommy went freak with Lord Bills. How powerful would a hybrid Saiyan god be or potential? Well, you have to remember, bro, Beerus is not a god by creature. We don't know what Beerus's race is. He had to become a god of destruction through training, like what Topo was doing. So we have no idea what Beerus's race is. So just because you're born of Beerus's race does not mean you're automatically a god. You have to train for it. So remembering that concept, the idea wouldn't work. However, there could be something to if somebody who attains god power has a kid, then what?
That would, yeah, but that would also, that's a lot more lore building than Dragon Ball would ever do. And that,
Yeah.
I think in most part, that's just like a power scaling question than like, what's the potential of a story? That being said, there are 4 universes that we know nothing about after Super that it's just ripe for exploration.
Bro, there's other universes that we don't know anything about.
I know.
They already showed us.
I know, but like there was 4 universes that weren't part of the Tournament of Power. So like that's my point. Is
those, yeah. Right. I meant all 12 we don't know about. Like, we know a little bit about 6.
But we know like their strongest fighters, right? Of those 8 universes. We have no idea what those other 4 are.
Yeah, and Daima's doing what Super should have done, exploration.
Right.
Bruce Wayne says, hello, Geekdom. Been watching since 2016. I was in high school. Damn, I'm so old. Thanks for all the years of escape. Hope to work with you one day once I start making vids. Well, good luck with your channel, and hopefully you'll do well. Hopefully you'll do well.
You have to just start, man. That's the hardest part, but you just have to start.
Yep. And get ready because it's going to take some work. Kevin Blanco said one character that should be reintroduced is Baby. Me and Mark did a video about that many years ago. Incorporated with the ideas of the Big Getty Star. Tuffle lore and all the tech is interesting. We didn't talk about the Big Getty Star, but we did talk about them putting Baby in and how they could do it for a movie.
Yeah, I think Baby is a character ripe for reintroduction.
Yeah. And repurposing is the word that I use.
Yeah, I mean, for the story, we certainly have a video on the. If you want to hear us explain that a lot more and with, actual notes and everything, that's the video to go watch because I know we've discussed it.
Yes, and I don't even know what the hell the video's called, bro. Like that. That video, like I don't know that video's title, but it's definitely it's in the discussion playlist, but that goes back a while.
Yeah.
Hold on. Dragon Ball Super Baby. Let's see if I get something here. Okay, no, this is all clips from other people's channels and clips from GT. Let me try Geekdom101. I want to find that video now.
Well, let me.
What?
Baby in Dragon Ball Super Movie 2 plot pitch 5 years
There
ago.
it is. There it is. Yeah, Baby in Dragon Ball Super Movie plot pitch. Yep, there it is. Baby in Dragon Ball Super Movie 2 plot pitch. Yep, because it's got Baby and then UI Goku on the cover. So we did do a whole video on that, man. Check it out. Again, Baby in Dragon Ball Super Movie 2 plot pitch. I might retitle that video sometime.
That's a good one.
That's a fun one. Xavier said, what do you think of Sparking Zero losing 90% of players? I don't even know what you're talking about. What is...
I've heard about this. So apparently the drama here is that like at its height, it was pulling in like hundreds of thousands, like 100,000 plus people. Right. And now like it's down to like 10K people playing actively. And
they went through all the modes and they're done with it.
Yeah, I think this is twofold. I think the biggest issue a lot of people have is that apparently it's really hard to play online and find matches. And then two, I just think
should have done crossplay.
Well, I just think that also fighting games don't have the longest lifespan of other video games.
But how do you explain the fact that Tenkaichi 3 was going on forever with the modding community?
I mean, yeah, like the modding community and that type of stuff. Like that certainly is interesting. But in terms of like, can you keep 100,000 people's interest? Like 10,000 people playing actively even now a month after is still, I would say it's pretty good, but I'm not an expert in video games, so I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't know either because I didn't even know that was going on. I mean, I believe you're right, but I didn't even know that was even happening.
Right.
Saint Fisuto, something weird I've noticed, Kai can be used to get to Zeno's palace, but not the demon realm. That's because the warp fish is probably blocking the way, but that's my only guess on that. I have no other. We don't know. We don't know. Vic Von Doom, since Hit is able to constantly improve himself, how strong could he be in relation to the core characters if a Kai unlocked his potential? I don't even know, bro. He's talking about like an ultimate Hit, bro. And he's also thousands of years old too, right? So
I wonder because Hit doesn't have does Hit have potential in the same way that Saiyans have potential? I don't think
it's never been said.
Yeah, I don't think
he is really strong.
I don't think the answer is yes. I think Hit has to be challenged to unlock. But yeah, if he could, then it would be insane. It would be crazy just how strong he would be. Again, Hit's my favorite character in Dragon Ball Super. I think he's the only new character, and I stand by this. I've said this over and over and over again. He's the only character that was introduced in Dragon Ball Super that has a legitimate arc.
And they could have even added more arc to that too.
Well, yeah, but like
wasn't even that big.
He's three. Like it's been so long since I've said this, but like he was introduced as an assassin. He had a job, which was to kill people and everything. A man for hire. Then he fought Goku as kind of like that was kind of more of a sparring thing. And then the last time you see him, he was actively trying to save his universe, which I thought was like that. Very little screen time whatsoever. He had an iconic look, a very, very iconic look, a very hard look, if you know what I mean. And
a hard look.
Yeah, he had a very veiny, hard look. And
yeah, I get it now.
And so he's an interesting character. I liked him a lot. And yeah, that's what I'll say. If he unlocked his potential and brought him back, then please do that. I would love to see him more.
I would love that too. Yeah, I just know how strong he would be. Lucas said, what if the Super Dragon Balls had become corrupted and produced shadow dragons? What's the name of the video you and I, bro? I like how they're asking us questions on videos that specifically you and I made, bro.
I don't know the name of that video.
All right, hold on. I think I got it here. Oh God. No. Here it is. Shadow Dragon's arc in Dragon Ball Super 4 years ago. Me and this guy right here already covered that, brother.
Oh, that was a good one too.
We have done a lot of these.
There's so many. I mean, like, yeah, everyone's asking, like, what about
But it's
this?
funny
What about
that
these characters?
of all the weeks to ask that question, it happens to be the week that you're on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the theories video, right?
Well, I was gonna take calls, and I still want to, but we're gonna have to. We can only do a couple. We have to get through these super chats first. That these they get priority.
Yeah.
Have you watched Saint Seiya? The answer is a little bit, but not all the way through. But
No.
yeah, Shadow Dragon Arc and Dragon Ball Super. It's a 26-minute video where me and Real to Real discuss how to do this. And by the way, that was the debut of the multiversal spirit bomb idea. If you remember, I think that was the one, right?
I think
so.
So.
That one or the Janemba one? Was that one of the Janemba one?
Oh, the Janemba one. I think it was the Janemba one.
The Janemba one, because Janemba was like the ultimate, like, that was a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xavier to God. Vegeta has God key and just had a daughter. Yeah, I know. But we haven't, his daughter hasn't gotten grown up to fight yet. So we don't know anything about that yet. We don't know anything about her, and we might never know. Son Goku 7. Going back to those other universes, their mortal level was so high, makes you think they have been more powerful mortal than Jiren and Goku. We've been over this maybe 10,000 times by now. I blame Expert Games and the other YouTubers for this. Mortal level has nothing to do with power. I don't know how many times Mark, how many times did I scream that when Super was on the air?
Oh, every episode.
I think every week.
Well, yeah, because that wouldn't make any sense because
other YouTubers kept saying, well, it's got to be based on power, and I'm like, no, it's not. You don't know what you're talking about. You got annoying. And then they said in the show, it has nothing to do with power. They said it in the show.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I hate that. I hate having to repeat myself, but I'm going to guess that maybe this guy's new, or maybe he wasn't around back then. He caught up with Super later. That's always a possibility. Power has nothing to do with mortal level. Nothing to do with mortal level.
Remind me if I'm wrong, but like Universe 7's like at the bottom of that totem pole, and they won. So
they won. Yeah. Exactly. Horrible. Yeah. Your mom. Do you guys think Granola and Baby have similar motivational motivations? Which arc do you think the Saiyan revenge concept better? Who's more relatable? Okay. Yes, they have very similar motivations. I think that I actually think the Baby arc was better than Granola. I'm sorry, but I do think so. It was just more creative ideas, better backstory, and it was done first. And I think even though the Baby arc was better, I think Granola is way more relatable than Baby.
Baby's more succinct. It's more focused. The Granola arc is all over the place in a lot of ways. Granola is a better character. I think it's really interesting because there was that push and pull when they first introduced Granola and started getting into that storyline. I think a lot of people were like, this is just going to be Baby again. They're reintroducing Baby, and just was not that.
Yeah, I like Baby more because of the whole machine mutants and the taking over people's bodies.
Right, and
most cooler.
I don't like, and yeah, like Granola, I don't like reintroducing another pair of Dragon Balls and everything like that. Then the heaters and like. It was too convoluted. Baby was a very straightforward. It pitted characters that we knew and loved against each other when they started taking over Vegeta and Gohan and Goten and everybody else. There's that horror element to it. You and I, like I said, we discussed this all in our video about like reintroducing Baby and why Baby was interesting and how they could reimagine.
How they could improve upon GT.
Right. Granola didn't do any of that, so I would have to agree that Baby's better.
All right, this is the last super chat here. Finally, Victor Van. Then we're gonna take calls. Vic Von Doom, not Van. Vic Von Doom. Do you think seeing Gotenks interact with Gogeta would be interesting? Yes. Also, how much stronger could a Potara of Goten and Trunks have been? Same thing as Gogeta Vegito, except that also got kind of changed later on. Would he have immediately defeated Buu due to a strength or attitude difference? The attitude is exactly the same with both fusions. That's something else we've talked about in the past. Attitude has nothing to do with the fusion, but the Potara lasts longer and can presumably have more power. So I think that Potara fused Gotenks would have been better.
I don't think that they would have beaten Boo though.
Well, they were too goofy, is what it was.
Right. Like well, yeah, it's an attitude thing, but I still don't think they're even at their most at their strongest level. I feel like they were just matching, and I don't think Boo was ever taking them super seriously. So that's the way I interpreted it. I'm not a power scaler though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gotenks would have been stronger and maybe could have beaten Boo, but it wouldn't have been like a one shot. Not if you watch how Gotenks performed against Boo. Gohan, Ultimate Gohan. When I was younger, I used to think Gotenks was stronger, and I was wrong. Ultimate Gohan is stronger than SS3 Gotenks, and he just demolished Boo.
Oh yeah.
So Potara Fusion with Kai Magic, I would assume is much better. So
yeah.
So all right. If you want to call in and talk to us to take call, we're going to take calls. We can only do a couple. We can't be here all night. The idea is this: call in with your theory for Daima or Super. We'll bring you on, and then we'll have a conversation. You tell us what you want to see, and then we'll tell you. Basically, we're not going to judge you. I don't want to judge the guy, but more so say, well, that could work. What if we try this? Just what you would like to see in Super and Daima going. This goes for both shows. Obviously, Super is longer, and it's more deeper in the timeline. And with Daima, there might not be too much there, which is why the stream was titled like the future of Dragon Ball Super Theory Craft call. So the StreamYard link is right there in the chat. Click it, get your device, whether it be computer, whether it be phone, whatever you got. Click into it, and it'll bring you on board. I will be right back. I have to get water because I'm out, and I need to get water real quick because I'm thirsty. Hold on.
All right. I'll hold down the fort, although I have to tell my wife that we're still streaming. That's she's nice enough to take the dog out to the park without me, so that's something. Okay, that takes care of that. Hi everybody. I guess I'll hold down the fort. Honestly thought Gohan would learn from mistakes and not catch them. See, I have like my Danny probably doesn't have this problem. I have my
all right, I'm back. I also turn on a light because it's
getting dark.
It's dark in here. It was daytime when I first started streaming, and now it's evening time.
I think we got one more super chat though.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get back to my thing here. Hold on. Let me remove this. Hold on. I see some guys are already in the thing. Stand by, y'all. Stand by. How do I get rid of this stop screen? Okay. This is the last super chat. Edson Josue Duran says, what do you think is considered canon across the franchise? And is it just people's opinions at this point due to the difference of continuity? It's people's opinions.
It's people's opinions. We were going over this earlier. Whatever you want, man.
Yes, it's people's opinions, and it is what it is, bro. Like,
I personally, I look at all of it as you can put even the movies, like the old movies, in places and just selectively watch them, or just ignore various parts of them and enjoy them within the context of the series.
I got a whole ass video plan, bro.
Yeah.
I got a whole ass video planned on it. So I'll do a video explaining that in more detail, because that's a very long conversation. It's not just like a simple conversation. But whenever you see a Dragon Ball fan talking about canon, 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. They literally don't know. They'll throw at me, oh, Dragon Ball Z is canon. Oh, yeah, what about Guard Jr.? Well, not that part. No, you can't do that. You can't just say, well, not that episode, because you said Dragon Ball Z. See, they always end up backpedaling because they don't understand like how this works, and it's a lot more complex. Let me bring in Athwash.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, guys.
This is Gaming Hub UK, bro.
Yes, it is.
All right, you're up first, brother. So what's your theory for the future? And then me and Mark will make fun. I mean, we'll say it's good. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you, but we're not going to roast you today. Today's not a roast stream.
That's okay. So I was wondering that, for my theory, I feel like there is a possibility that the Saiyans are also a part of from the demon realm, because if you know that, that Saiyans didn't like to be ruled under, somebody. That's why they even rebelled against Frieza for that later on, being from Bardock. And that's what Frieza also feared. So there is a possibility that it was that case, and also could tie into the fact that the many races that were escaping from the demon realm was the main reason also why the third eye was lost from Abura's reign.
Wait, why do you think Third Eye was lost?
Because I feel like Abura used it to sort of stop the races from escaping the demon realm. Maybe
Oh,
that's why there's like magic sealed in the three layers.
okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that could be. That go ahead.
Mhm.
No, I like the idea of, I do like the idea of the Saiyans leaving because of oppressive reign, and they just want to like kind of create their own destiny. Also, something that you and I didn't discuss, Danny, is we. I don't know. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the idea is, like the Tarbles and that race, like they destroyed their first home, and so they kind of
You
took
mean the
refuge.
Saforian?
Saforian, yeah, Tarble, Saforian,
I was saying Tuffle's what you're thinking.
Tuffles, Tarble.
Tarble is.
I've said that so many times. I've said that so many times. I can't get that name right.
You're a secret fan of his, bro.
I do like that character. I want to bring him back, but
Me too. I agree.
He no, but like the Sephorians, right? So like that was the Sephorians' planet, and the Saiyans just kind of showed up there. That could be an interesting retcon, or reintroduction of that. Is the characters like they escaped and then they found themselves on that home world with the Sephorians, and that started everything.
Well, Ash, have you seen, and I'm guessing you have, Jordan's video about like the theory about the apes being from
Yes.
there?
Yes. I did.
Okay. Like, is that what you're thinking? It's kind of like that, or is there a different element?
Not necessarily. I mean, of course, the pointy ear thing is not you, as you had explained, that not everybody with pointy ears is from the demon realm. But because Jordan always has said that Saiyans have this demonic nature, and it's also like closely ties into them, and the fact that in Daima recently they said like like just for the sake of it, they might have said that Goku is from the second demon realm. I can still take it into consideration that it might be a hint, to say the least. And, again, there are just small details that we might catch in later, or may not be into fruition. But yeah, that's what I sort of build up my theory over, but not necessarily in the same way.
I like if that's the case, if the apes are from the demon realm and they're from the second one, I would love the fact that when we get there, it's constantly night with moons. Like they have tails, they turn into the Ozaru, and that's why they were constantly like that. But once they were outside in the normal universes, they started being humanoid again.
They regressed to their
a lot of people think that the scene in the trailer where Goku's eye is green and it lights up, it's supposed to be like what happened in GT, and that's Goku going into Golden Great Ape, and he's going to use Great Ape in the second demon realm. I haven't seen that yet. I'm just letting everybody know. I have not, and I'm being genuine. I'm not hiding a leak here. I have not seen anything in Daima from the information I've gathered that the Great Ape is in Daima, but I haven't seen everything, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, I feel like that would hold a lot more water if when they regress to children, they got their tails back, which theoretically they should have.
They don't have them yet, though.
Yeah, but theoretically they should have. But it wouldn't be the first time that a Saiyan lost its tail and then regrew it. So it could still happen.
I mean, it would go against the point that once a Saiyan loses his tail is when they surpass the Great Ape's power, right? So because Goku and Vegeta have surpassed that stage, it would be pointless for them to even grow it back in the first place.
Unless Toriyama retcons it.
Yeah, unless he writes it back. But I'm just saying, like in the general terms, I would say it wouldn't make sense for that to happen because Goku can turn into a Super Saiyan. So, I mean,
We saw it in episode 5.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense for the tail to just come back. Really, is what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, bro. I don't know how they're going to write into that. But what about Super? Because I like your Daima idea, but do you have anything for Super's future?
I mean, they have. Let me think about it. Yeah, I mean, we can see the.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll say it in a minute.
So what I was saying is that we can have the demons, like some of the characters, return if it is to face Black Frieza, because it would be interesting if it's like an all-out war where you have different people using different techniques, like how we have seen within the Moro arc itself, that there are species of aliens that can literally, create wormholes and travel through that. Like that's how 7-3 got to the Lookout. So if there's a situation where Frieza has his soldiers or some of them who can use these techniques, it would be interesting if the demons also like joined in and they have their own sets of techniques, because Pansy had explained that every demon has like one type of magic.
Right.
So, the sky's the limit.
On that, the kind of jumping off what you're saying, one of the things I would love to see, because Danny talked to me about this a couple months ago, kind of asking like, what do you want to see from Black Frieza? I honestly don't know, man.
I don't either.
It
could be a lot of things.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things. I would prefer him still being a kind of an anti-hero for what it is, but it would be interesting now that Frieza has this power and understanding of the worlds around him, that one of the things that we've seen from him recently is recruitment. Like he's running out of people to recruit in Universe 7, or at least that's kind of the implication from Dragon Ball Super Broly. So it would have been cool, like, well, I can't do anything in Universe 7 yet, but for whatever reason, he gets access to the Demon Realm, and he goes there and starts recruiting people from there, because there's a lot of strong people, right, that can fill out his army. That would be an interesting way of introducing that concept back into it.
He has shown interest in the anime, or to go into Universe 9, of course, for his own ambitions.
Right.
But of course, it would be interesting if he did that. And plus, I like how Frieza obviously has trained so much after Resurrection F, where he got Black Frieza and then mastered it, rather than, being on the losing end where he does not have the stamina to maintain it. So if he does become like an anti-hero thing, I mean, it wouldn't be soon, but I would love to see that concept play out, at least a bit after Black Frieza.
Right. All right, man. Well, let's see how it happens, but I'm going to go ahead and put you back in I'm going to bring on the next person. I'm going to bring you back in the little...
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll do this again in the future at some point. I just don't know when. We'll do them once in a while, bro. All right, let's see. I'm going to try and bring this guy named Stevie in. It's kind of hard to see him. Hey, can you I can kind of see you, but not really. There you are.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? So what is your idea for the future? I mean, we wanted to focus on Super, but you can talk about Daima too. It doesn't matter. It's that Daima stuff sort of more in the past, but it doesn't matter to me. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, I have a few things to say. Geekdom, you are the GOAT, man. Like, I appreciate I've been following you, watching you for years. First time I actually get a chance to have a conversation with you. So this is exciting. I'm happy about this.
We'll do
I literally
more of these in the future.
Yeah, I literally pulled over so I could like do this. So I was one of the people that was disappointed with Daima, the announcement of it, of the whole kid thing. But I say, you know what? I love Dragon Ball, period. So I'm gonna watch it, and I'm glad I'm watching it. And I love the series. I like what they're doing. I do wish they'll move on, but I know with the Shueisha and different things, you gotta just wait until they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Thing that
it's funny because when I first told Mark, he's like, that's not what they should be doing. Like, I'm like, I'm like, I know, bro, but I mean, what do you want me? Like, the thing about me is, bro, maybe it's because I've been around for a long time. I didn't think bringing Frieza back in Resurrection F, and it is my favorite character. I didn't even think that was that great of an idea. Like, there's a lot of times where I scratch my head, and then when you see how it plays out, it's like, it wasn't so bad. You know, it just
Yeah,
depends.
you gotta trust the process. Trust the process.
Yeah,
So
and thankfully,
that's what I'm doing.
Unlike Star Wars, they haven't let us down yet, even though not everything's been great. So.
Oh yeah, Star Wars, that's a whole nother can of worms. But I would like to give my thoughts on the series and what I would like to see in the future when it comes to Super. I feel like right now with the writing and the story, the power scaling is so out of whack when it comes to the characters. There's so many transformations. If you go based off of the anime, Beerus should be far surpassed by Goku and Vegeta if you go off the anime. But if you go off the manga,
he's
it seems like
the manga.
Yeah, they're nowhere near where Beerus is. And it's like, I know it's like they're the same story but different, but I wish that we'll kind of get more like concrete on how strong Beerus is. And also too, these characters are getting so strong and powerful to where how can new characters even keep up? You know, with Oob, if they finally get to Oob, how relevant is Oob going to be when you got Beast Gohan and all these people that are just such a higher echelon and of power scaling? So that's my thing. And I was thinking a way to combat these godlike powers like UI and Ultra Ego is if they fought against a villain that's in the demon realm that negates their god abilities. So
like what Moro did when he first showed up, right?
That's why I love the Moral arc, because it made them have to do different things. Vegeta had to go to Planet Yadra to, learn something else. Like they have to approach things differently. They couldn't do just straight fist of fighting because they lost. So I was thinking along the lines of, okay, a villain that comes about that negates God Ki. So even like Beerus could even do nothing if he wanted to where it would then put more attention on other characters. Like Goku and Vegeta might have to revert back to their previous Saiyan forms and find other ways to defeat a villain just because God Ki won't work against these demon characters. Now, I thought of this theory way before Daima came out, but I'm just trying to find some way to get a grasp on the power scaling of the series, because it's like way out of whack. It's all over the place.
You mean Super or Daima? Well,
Super.
I got you. Yeah, because in Daima,
yeah,
they did something very smart, which is they have to get reaccustomed to their bodies.
Yeah.
And that was a very smart thing. It's funny because I said this on a stream, maybe it was 2 weeks ago or a month ago. I don't remember, but I know I said it, where people were saying, okay, the thing with them being little kids again, it turns people off. I would have just done it to where the wish or something, some kind of demonic power made them not be able to use ki anymore, and they had to fight just hand to hand. And then Dragon Ball goes back to hand for a little while, not forever, right?
Yeah, not forever, just a moment.
And then you keep the adult forms, because I've said it before, bro. Way too many transformations, and like I said before, Daima's adding another one, and it's not going to come till February, and I don't know what people are going to think about that, because it's going to be like what happened this past week politically. Some folks are going to have a meltdown and others are going to be very happy. Hopefully people will be happy.
And I would say, and back to your part, Mark, it's that they're cramming so much in this 10-year time span, where if these transformations and things happen where after the end of Z, then I don't think people will have problems with all the transformations, because it's been such a length of time, but it's all these transformations, all these things is happening within this time span that they're cramming in. It's like, okay, we're seeing too much. Now, depending on if they do plan to go after Z, you know, how many more transformations are we going to get? How many more? And then that's when it's going to kind of get, you know, drug out. And I know
it's already drug out.
Yeah, well, it is. It's going to get drug out more. And another point I want to just throw in there too. I miss when Dragon Ball has stakes. Geekdom, you replied to one of my comments in your videos a while back. I don't remember the exact video, but I was just talking about how the series there's no real stakes where you got Whis that could bring people back to life. We got Dragon Balls, and death isn't really taken seriously in the series. So with death not taken serious, because anyone can come back almost. Now you got the Super Dragon Balls to where that can really do something. And now you got these other set of Dragon Balls, and there's no stakes. And also too, anytime we go against these new villains that they introduce within this 10-year time skip or time frame, we know no one's going to die. We're not going to lose no one because everyone's at the end of Z. No, well, not permanently.
Well, they did that with Piccolo in the Fakatsu no F arc of Super.
The worst arc ever, bro.
Yeah, like we know he's not gone, so there's no real stakes. So even with the Goku Black, I loved how dark that was. I love the intro of it. You know, this entity killing Bulma, killing people, and it was dark. I loved it, but in the back of my mind, I know everyone's gonna be all right. You know, because you know. So I wanted to get past Z, so now we don't know. We're in unknown territory to where we don't know if one of our favorite characters might die or things like that. But Dragon Balls is, you know, catered to a certain young audience. They might not want to go that route, and maybe I'm talking more from a mature perspective.
No, they gotta go that route, bro. They gotta.
I will say, like, I want to go back to one of your first points. I agree with that. I agree with this, and I think the thing is we're older fans, and they are still catering to children. So, I mean, that is what it is. But I agree with
people
both
need to die.
I agree with you both.
Yes.
I want to go back to one of the very first points you made, though, about Oob. Like, how strong is Oob going to be, especially with how strong Goku and Vegeta and Gohan and Frieza and everybody else has gotten. I think that Super's pretty much answered this perfectly, more so than they ever probably intended to.
Oh,
Oob
doing the moral arc.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but but Oob is Kid Buu. Frieza was Frieza, and Frieza trained a little bit and got as strong as he did. Oob is supposed to be starting off at a much higher level. That's probably, to me, that's always been internally consistent, like why Goku would be super excited to fight Oob once he got a chance to train him, because Buu didn't ever train. So I'm excited for that, and it's one of the reasons I hope we get past the ending of Z at some point. In terms of Frieza introducing characters, getting past the Dragon Ball Super arc and everything with stakes, I like the idea of a character who can negate God Ki, or at least is stronger than gods and angels or something.
Somebody needs to take Beerus out. Beerus and Whis need to go, bro. Somebody needs to take the motherfuckers out, bro.
Right.
We need a threat to where, because we don't even know how strong Beerus is. So if we can get an idea how strong Beerus is, and then a badass comes on, takes him out, or put him down, and it's like then Vegeta and Goku are like, oh my god, Beerus is down. How are we going to take on this person? It's the inconsistencies of the manga and the anime, where in the anime they should be far past Beerus, and especially how Beerus was shaken towards like how Jiren and all this other stuff is like. I don't know, but I agree with you guys. They need to step it up with the mature level and just kind of go for it. But No, they're holding their cards close to their chest.
Well, I think one of the biggest.
And nobody's asking for like nudity or like
No,
disembowelment. Just have
absolutely
motherfuckers
not.
Die. Just people die in fucking kids shows, bro. People die in real life, bro. Like let motherfuckers die. Like fuck. You know?
Well, I would say that the thing you could do with Frieza, and I've told you this, Danny, but the thing you could do with Frieza more than anything, if he's going to continue to be a very strong adversary, but not necessarily a villain, which I think would be a really bad idea, is take one of the other universes, have them witness the Tournament of Power in the same way that Zamasu witnessed like Super Saiyans and Super Saiyan gods and everything, and go, hey, I want those Super Dragon Balls for myself. And then he goes and starts attacking Universe 6 to get the Super Dragon Balls. And so it's a good old-fashioned race for the race for the Dragon Balls arc, where it's
So
between two universes.
They're gonna go on a grand tour.
Yes. Well, you're racing for the Dragon Balls. There's that type of stakes, and you can introduce a character that is from another universe that we've never seen before. We have no concept of their power, and they can take on someone like Beerus and everybody else, because that was clearly set up in the Tournament of Power with Toppo and Jiren being stronger, or at least Jiren being stronger than a God of Destruction.
And this is our opportunity. And this is the opportunity to introduce more backstory of these other gods of destruction that we, briefly met during the Tournament of Power, to see how strong they are. Now in the manga, we know Beerus was holding his own against them, so we know out of all of them, we can assume that Beerus is the more skilled one out of all the other gods of destruction.
Right.
So that we can assume that. But no, let's bring them in. I think my biggest issue, I know I keep saying that, but my biggest issue, there are so many plot points and things and world building that they're adding, but they're not exploring. And it's like, this is universe.
And we're still holding our dicks in Universe 7, bro.
Yep, that's the biggest issue. There's no reason, there's no narrative reason why Moro had to be a part of Universe 7. He could have been a part of Universe.
It could have been. He could have left and gone to a different universe, and then we got to chase after him.
No, he could have come from a different universe for some reason.
Okay, but he could also. What if he goes to Universe 6 and takes out Hit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit! Now this guy, let's get Kaba to help us. Like, there's a lot of shit they can do, bro.
Right.
All the fucking fans have come up with. I want to know why they're so afraid to take these dangerous new directions. You got fan fiction people and fan manga people doing it.
Yep.
Like, just go for it, man. Like, you don't have to rewrite the wheel here.
But I think that what it is, they handicapped themselves because of this 10-year time frame where where you go back to Z. Kid Buu to this day is my favorite villain because he's the most successful villain. He killed so many people. He killed so many Z fighters in one blast. Then start going planet to planet, blowing up places. He is the most successful villain in the series of Dragon Ball, excluding Zamasu, because what Zamasu did, he got defeated, but he made a whole universe get wiped out. So if you want to include that, then fine. But besides that, Kid Buu is the most successful villain of killing Z fighters. And people die, and we like, oh man, they die. How they gonna come back? Whatever. Now we know it's like, there's no real stakes. More Whis can reverse back time. He can bring people back with just a flick of the wand. We always got Beerus in the back pocket to where Beerus might stop someone from destroying Earth because he loves the food so much, because they got buddy with the gods. Now Goku is best friends with the ruler of all the universes, with both Xenos. It's just, what real threats are?
That's what I'm saying. So take out Beerus and Whis have got to go, bro. Not forever. You can always bring them back later, but they got to go somehow. If you don't want to kill them, let them get trapped in some realm they can't get out of, or some shit, some like dark phantom realm or some shit. They get stuck in there, and then Goku and Vegeta are on their own.
Or Beerus gets into a fight, gets hurt very badly, and then he has to rest for however long. Beerus, his cat naps are very long naps, so he has to get his energy back, so he has to rest. So he still has a Whis, but
I'll take one further. Have have Beerus and Whis go on vacation to another universe. Like that's Dragon Ball. That's Dragon Ball humor. Like they're just gone.
Yeah, like the humor. Yeah, they go on vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, whatever, anything to bring back stick. Like you said, like has been said, the idea that Beerus can literally step in at any point in this story and end it kind of negates it. And they actively made fun of that in the Resurrection of F, Frieza.
And in Moro, when he's like, I'll handle this, and don't let him do it. It's like, remember how he stepped up, like, I'll get rid of Moro. It's like,
yeah, he was gonna do it. It's like, no.
It's like when you go on a field trip and you feel like you're an adult finally, but you got the chaperone holding you by the hand. Oh, don't worry, you'll be safe. Like,
yeah, that's exactly the state.
Goku. Goku didn't have no chaperone in Dragon Ball or Z.
Right.
And he was a kid. And he was a little kid fucking motherfuckers up. And then now he's a grown-ass man. Bro, instead of him putting the cat on a leash, the cat's got him on a leash.
The cat got him on a leash. I totally agree with that.
I don't even think, and I'm not gonna blame Toriyama for it. It's just like I don't think he realizes like this has been going on for a while now. This is not like something new.
Well, a decade.
Beerus introduced 11 years ago, bro. They have teased us with a
God,
Goku Beerus
so long.
rematch. The only Goku Beerus rematch we got was when Beerus and Goku fought when Beerus in the Monaka suit, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
And that was a joke episode.
And that was a joke. And then in the manga, when we see Vegeta, get big in the chest to fight against Beerus, he got that one good hit in, and then Beerus had to humble him very badly. Say, you are however many years away from even reaching me. So I'm like, wait a minute. How is he that far behind? I'm not expecting Vegeta. Yeah, he's that far behind. So how strong are you, Beerus? Like, show me your power. Show me your power. What can you do? But there haven't been no real threat for him to even go all out to show his power. And and the whole thing where Beerus and Goku fought, and then we say that he used 70% of his power, and that's the main thing that everyone's kind of like hung on. It's like, okay, if Beerus used 70% of his power back when Goku just reached God form, then after all this time he should be well surpassed, unless Whis was just lying,
right?
Just to make him feel good, make him feel like, oh yeah, you did really good, but that's not true. Just kind of get like an A for effort type of thing. But really, Beerus didn't use nearly as much of his power as alluded to.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends, because the movie's a whole other thing. Well, brother, thank you for calling in, man. I got to put you back we got two more people to take it on, bro.
I appreciate the conversation. This was great. I'm about to start back working right now. Thanks, Geekdom. Thanks, Mark, for having me on, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, we will, brother. Take care.
All right.
Okay. Also, please be aware, the plan right now is to have Stephanie on next week. Stephanie Nadolny will be here with me next week. That's the plan. She says she was going to do it, but I have to verify a time with her, so I'll try that tonight. And I don't think we're going to take calls on that, or maybe just for Ultra Instinct members. Keep an eye on the community tab, because that one might. Because if we take calls for Stephanie, bro, I'll have this thing. We got 3 people here, bro. If we take calls for Stephanie, dude, we're gonna end up with a line of, bro. It'll be longer than the lines at the gas station after the hurricane hit freaking Florida, bro. Like it'll be longer than the line at Kmart on Black Friday, bro. So we're gonna take it easy, bro. All right, Vincent Morera, thank you for your patience, man. Welcome.
Hi, man. I'm such a big fan. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience, man. We're trying to get people in, but I also don't want to cut people off and be rude and say, hey, we'll do a lightning round. But what's up?
Welcome. All right. So I kind of have like 3 takes. I don't know if you want to hear all 3 of them. We can just pick one's for Daima, one's for Super. Well, 2 of them are for Super, one's for Daima.
Okay, go for it. I think we have hold on. I think we have 3 new super chats. So we'll do you first, then we'll take super chats. Go ahead.
Okay. So I guess I'll start with Daima. So I just kind of like have a theory on Boo, maybe. Possibly just entertaining a theory, maybe like if we're saying like if Kid Buu was, if he did spend some time in the demon realm, I kind of like the idea of maybe there being like somebody very powerful in the demon realm who kind of facilitated him. And sort of like what I was entertaining on that theory was like, so even though you can refer to any demon from the demon realm as a Majin, just sort of like the M, like the emblem, being like something similar that we've seen like with characters like Goku and Tien, where they have symbols of their schools. What if that was like their emblem, and like characters like Bobbity and Bibbity and that's like the emblem, right? And
I would love that if there was a
I think that would be
Majin
cool,
school.
right?
Yeah.
And then like the way that this person controlled Boo is the same way that Bobbity and Bibbity would control their minions, but obviously on another level, and then that's where they learned it from. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yes.
But what you guys think about that? Yeah, that's sort of
Well, I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, I think it would be awesome. I mean, the thing that I found interesting about the dub when I went to go see it earlier today is they refer to Majins as Majins, meaning the people of the demon realm. They're like, oh, we're in control of the Majin. And I was like, that's an interesting choice because I thought for sure they were going to say the demons, not to confuse the fans. So I know there's going to be some dub fans who are going to think they're talking about the Boo people. And I don't blame people for thinking that. I've had to say it in multiple videos because it's that lost in translation thing.
Yeah.
Like, people think that Majin is just Boo's people. But
No.
I would like it. Yeah, I would like it if they did something like that. Where there was a whole clan of people with the M. And there is one character. There's one character who's not – actually, there's three, but there's one character who has the M who has not been revealed yet. And I don't know anything about this character.
That's pretty sick.
I just know what they look like. Yeah, the M is coming back in Daima.
That's pretty sick.
But I just don't – I talked about it in my leak video, but I don't know what her I don't know. I think it's a her. I don't know what her story is. I just know I saw what she looked like. So,
and I forgot something to add on to what I was saying, just on that theory. But it's what if like his role, Kid Buu, during that time he was in the demon realm? What if his role was kind of like a power suppressor, right? Making sure nobody was too strong. Because I would see like
a god of destruction.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like sort of that role. And then just sort of like keeping everybody in line. I think that would be interesting.
You'd have to figure out who was who. Like you said, somebody would have to be controlling him.
Right.
It would have to be. It's kind of like I guess it would kind of like be sort of like a wild animal, and you got like a trainer.
Yeah.
Like a bear trainer, like a rabid dog trainer, something like that.
Yeah, because he just embodies that chaos, and like that savagery. So like,
now we're talking about Kid Buu, not Fat Buu, right?
Yeah, Kid Buu. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, Fat Buu, you can just talk to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Kid Boo's the real scary one. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
I love the idea of it being some kind of school that is either still around or was around like several thousand years ago or something. I mean, there's certainly a lot of time to play around with the demon realm and the characters that have obviously been around, like they've been alive for centuries. So this is stupid. Like I like this idea because I like this idea a lot because it kind of nudges a little bit on what I want to see at the very ending of Daima is potentially they're going to summon the dragon. They're going to get the Dragon Balls. They're going to summon the dragon, but who knows what the wish is going to be? I mean, this is theory. Obviously, there's a lot of ways that this can play out, but like I like the idea of really playing around with this. Where if you're going to go wacky with it, if you're going to make them kids, then go super wacky with it. Where they get the dragon out, and either the Namekian from the demon realm, his name escapes me, but he,
Neva,
yeah,
Neva,
like
right? Yeah,
him or somebody else is like, instead of wishing for them to be adults again or something, like they're like, I want to go back in time. And like it sends everyone back in time to like the beginning, or way earlier, and so then you can really explore what the Demon Realm was like, especially when Majin Buu was.
Are you saying that you're saying you end it with a cliffhanger?
Yeah, like a
That would
major
be-
cliffhanger that
that would be
throws
cool.
everyone back in time, and so
Dragon
you're
Ball
back in.
never does shit like
Right,
that, bro.
exactly.
Except for when it was first around. The old show did that.
Yeah, like but stuff like that, right? So you go back in time, and then like the reason I bring this up is because your idea like sparks that interest, where it's like, oh man, you could explore that. Then you could explore like what was Majin Buu's role and why everyone
Right.
was afraid of him. Like he's just this attack dog with somebody much more powerful in magic than Bibbidi and Bobbidi controlling him. Perfect. I would love that.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I guess I'll move on to my super theories.
You get a couple super ones, yeah.
Yeah, I only have two, and one of them is,
Right.
is specifically for Frieza, and then just the overall writing of the story. So for Frieza, how do you guys feel about this? What if like and this is just me like headcanon nitpicking stuff, right? Stuff that I've noticed. What if like the 10 years, right, he spent in that spirit in time, right, that he found somewhere in space? What was the sorry, I'm trying to phrase my words. What if he was trying to not only get stronger, but like understand the realm, like, and basically a world like he's not familiar with. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because just his times being in the Tournament of Power, and just seeing how the gods facilitate stuff, it clearly piqued his interest, right? And just having the Saiyans around and knowing how powerful they are, I can totally see him using Goku and Vegeta to facilitate a situation where Beerus has to get active, and where he might even have to have them fight each other, and then using that opportunity, and maybe after Beerus is done fighting them, to come and kill Beerus. All right.
Bro, I have been wanting Frieza to kill Beerus since Resurrection F. I thought when Resurrection F was coming out that Frieza was going to take Beerus out at the beginning of the movie.
I think he still might.
That was before I even had a YouTube. That was months before. I was like, yeah, this is way before. I was like, dude, I want him to take out Beerus, and then Goku has to figure it out on his own with Vegeta. That needs to happen. And to be honest, we're about 10 years late, but better late than never.
I feel like it would be awesome if he did that. It would put him right back on top of that villain, like, you know, because like, remember, he's not a warrior, right? He's an emperor. All right. He believes his birthright is the universe because he was born strong. So everybody who's in front of him, who's above him, it's a problem for him, right? So like, that's not okay. That's not going to fly for him. So I definitely see, I think it's maybe his agenda. I would feel like that would probably be part of his agenda to get rid of Beerus somehow, right? And sort of put himself in a position where he's closer to understanding the divine. I feel like that's something.
I think he wants to rule the multiverse. He doesn't have any idea how, because of Zeno. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. And we don't even know. I mean, we know a little bit about how gods of destruction powers are passed on, but we don't know like the full extent of that. Like what happens if anybody kills Beerus, then that's going to screw up the god, hierarchy in that entire universe, and then
it'll disable the Supreme Kai and the Angel.
Right. Yeah. Which would nerf Whis, which that's one of the things everybody wants to see is like Whis not being, even though angels don't get involved, everyone wants to see a situation where he has no choice but to not get involved. And
angels don't get involved except they distract Broly, they reverse time when you need them to, and they bring enemies back to life.
Right. Well, like that, and that kind of brings me back
it's
to what
about
you're
as
saying.
Involved as I was going to make a Ukraine joke. Never mind. Go ahead. I don't want to get on this with that, bro.
That's a second.
Because people, talking about Ruiz never really got involved. No, he got involved by proxy. He got involved by proxy.
He does it. He does it in almost every arc. But I like your idea. It's weird to me. Like I can't imagine a situation where Goku and Vegeta would be forced to kill Beerus.
I don't think they would be forced to kill him.
But like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm not. I want to hear your perspective. But I was just saying, like, well, Broly is still a wild card, and they're making him strong, actively making him stronger. So like. And Frieza understands how to trigger Broly, or at least understands that if you trigger Broly, he's a threat. So I don't know.
Well, I think Frieza should take out Beerus.
I
I
do
would
too.
love it, even if it's not him. Even if it's him teaming up with somebody else that he finds cooler, frozen in ice somewhere. I don't care if they have to tag team Beerus to beat him. I would be okay with that. I would be
Right.
Get him out. Get
I
him
feel like
out.
I feel like it would be him. I feel like it's gonna be Frieza himself, and the only reason why I'm entertaining that is because his role in Super is sort of changed, right? Because like I stated before, right, he's an emperor who believes his birthright is, you know, the universe, right? But that's changing because right now he's learned golden and now black, right? So
He's a
now
martial artist now.
right, so it's add layers to his character. Now I think now that's added to his ego, so it has to be him that kills Beerus. I think that him understanding destruction energy is something that he's been doing on his own, and the only reason why I'm hinting at that is because what we've seen when what was that universe that tried to assassinate him and Goku when they showed up.
Nine.
They
Nine.
they threw Hakai energy at him, right? And he was
Yeah, but it was Cedra. It was that weak ass like.
it was weak, right? But
yeah.
and
but
then
if Beerus does Hakai on Frieza and Frieza just goes like this and just get like swats it away, bro.
Yeah,
that would be people would lose their minds off of that.
Well,
you know
I think what I'm getting at is because he did that, and then when he fought against Topo, right, he clearly struggled, right? He didn't have any chance. I think that he's starting to gain an understanding for it. He might not be as proficient as like somebody who actually knows how to use the technique, but I think he's entertaining himself by like, you know, learning it. And I could definitely see that 10 years him training to use that time to try to understand something he's not familiar with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, 100%, man.
No, it does make sense, and I want it.
Yeah, I want that too.
If anyone's going to take out Beerus, it either has to be a fantastic new character, but why even continuously bring back Frieza if he's not going to do something major?
So, it has to. I think it would have to be him. And then let me just give my last take. I don't want to take any more of you guys' time. You guys have been wonderful. But just I guess for the future of like Super, I know it's in Torotaro's hands now. And personally, that I'm a little nervous. Okay,
yeah, bro. I mean, he liked the Acolyte, bro. He thought the Acolyte was brilliant.
I'm a little nervous just for the future.
If we start seeing witches on planet Vegeta trying to conjure up a baby, bro, I'm out. I'll take an early retirement, bro.
The one thing that I think would benefit Torotaro and just the series in general if other mangakus came and advised him. Specifically, I think people like Oda. Or Kishimoto.
Oda's more like Toriyama than Toyotaro, I think.
Yes, I feel like Oda is actually his true successor. You know what I mean? And that's just me. That's my opinion.
Even he said it. Even Oda himself said that.
Hey,
not in those words, but he talked about him, but respected him. Yeah.
You know, with One Piece ending next year, it's possible. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have more free time. I think it's something that if you know, for the love of Dragon Ball, I would love that. You know, like just to have somebody competent and you know, well respected.
I would rather have Oda than Toyotaro too, actually.
Right. You know what I mean? Like just somebody like if it's not him behind it, maybe you know, have somebody closely work with him. That would just be amazing. I just think he needs help. You know, perspective on how to tell the story forward. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I can understand One Piece being a one-man kind of army type of storytelling. I can imagine Bleach being that, Naruto. Dragon Ball at this point, especially with Toriyama's passing, always to me felt like
corporate. It
feels like it should not just be like a one-man show. It needs to be, you know, kind of focus grouped and thought, which kind of sucks because you don't want it to feel like by the books and for the numbers, but quite frankly, like it's lost its creator.
But what he's saying could still apply because if Oda takes over the manga, you'd still have that other team working on the anime stuff and the movies. So that could still work. Oda would just be taking Toyotaro's place or Toriyama's place in this case, which I think that One Piece fans would be pissed off about it because they're losing their guy, but
he's done enough, man. 26 years of the story. Let him rest.
Is it actually ending next year? Because I hear that every year.
It's ending, dude. It's ending. He's done. Wow. Yeah, he's done. He's tired. They're on hiatus right now. for like
So
half a
the
year.
anime is, but is the manga's still going, right?
The manga's still going, but he's pretty much, he knows the ending. That's something he says. So like
He
he's
said
at
that.
that. Yeah, it's at that point. So like pretty much he's been trying to build everything up, making sure that works. And
They can't blow this either, bro, because
no,
people
it's
have
gonna hurt if
invested.
it does, dude. I've been a fan,
Dude, one of the reasons as to why I haven't gone too deep into One Piece is because if the ending ends up sucking, bro, I would have wasted my whole life, and I've already done that with other things. Like it's like Cobra Kai, bro. If Cobra Kai's ending sucks, bro, I don't think it will, but oh man, just when you get invested into something that long,
yeah,
One Piece is longer than Dragon Ball.
It is, but
twice, 3 times as long, I think, right, or something like that. Some crazy.
Yeah, we're just talking about like the story.
I want to focus on a little bit on the chat because people are saying your cap and it's not ending. I have no idea. I'm with Danny. Like
I don't know if it's ending. No, I don't know if it's ending.
No, it's like
he's saying it is.
No, I know, but like I have no idea either. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Like quite frankly, it probably needs to. It's been going on forever, but no, I have no idea. It's just one of those things. It's like I hear every year. It's like there's, we're reaching.
I won't get too deep into it, but the reason why it's ending, spoilers for anybody, but I'm not saying too much. But like, there's like a philosophy in the story that's supposed to last 20 years, and Luffy is that character in that philosophy. He fits it. He's only 19. Just like I said, so like. It's next year he's going to turn 20, which would complete the philosophy of what they're telling in the story. And then also where the story is at next year. He stated it himself that he's going to end it next year. Okay. So aligns.
I have no reason to.
It aligns with inverse storytelling and what he's saying outside of the story. So I don't really know why anybody thinks that it's not going to end. He's been writing the story for 26 years. I think he's done.
Well, it's a long, I mean, just for it lasting this long,
yeah,
it could have been finished at 10 or even 15.
Absolutely.
Like, we're way past that.
Absolutely.
Well, I have no reason to doubt you, man. I'm just saying, like, it was funny because I was reading the chat, but some people were saying Oda's not going to take over Dragon Ball, which I don't think any of us expect that to be the case. It was just
I think it's more so that he could coach.
You like advise,
right, exactly.
Yeah, that could be.
No, I think that the fact that like having more seasoned authors come in and kind of give their thoughts and takes and stuff and help shepherd him, because he's still, I know that Toyotaro's been doing this for like, gosh, damn, we're near a decade.
Over. Well, for Dragon Ball, a decade, but he also did the Heroes manga first and AF, and that was,
I was gonna say AF, right?
But that's all fan shit. That's like fan shit.
But even that, like, I know he's been doing it for a really long time, but I mean, Toriyama was holding his hand for whole time.
Yes, he was.
And so now that he's gone, like, it's just like y'all were saying at the very beginning, is like, are we?
Maybe he'll call Leslie Headland to be his fucking mentor, bro.
Yeah, like somebody who can, help him.
Leslie Headland.
Do it.
No,
it's needed.
That's the acolyte, bro.
Do it.
No.
All right.
You're trying to get me to hate Dragon Ball, bro. And it's not gonna work.
No.
No, not you, him.
Oh,
yeah. All right, man. Do you have any final thoughts?
No. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. I've been a big fan for a long time, Geekdom. I'm a 28-year-old fan, so I've been watching you for a long time.
I appreciate it very much. You have no idea, and hopefully you'll be around in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Later. We got JD, who I'm going to bring on in a moment. Let me get these super chats out of the way. I got to piss like a damn horse, bro. This show's gone longer than I was expecting, but I'll bring in JD here. We have a line of people. We may only be able to bring in one more, y'all, because I've been on for 3 hours almost, and I don't want to take up Mark's time. Left says, you know how in the Granola arc, Bardock lost his tail during the fight against Gas, but in the Broly movie, he still has his tail? He somehow grew it back. Yes, bro, they grow their tails back. That happened in Dragon Ball many times, and Z. Today, Terrence said, Daima ain't bad. I'm looking forward to the new DBS anime. There's no DBS anime
Keep waiting.
announcement. Yeah, bro.
It's going to be a keep waiting situation.
Keep waiting, yeah. Gaming Hub UK, who joined us earlier, forgot to mention the reason why Saiyan's power ball technique exists is probably because they didn't have a constant moon like in the Demon Realm. Possible. It wasn't Bardock being a brilliant scientist, though, like the Ocean Dub taught us. That was not true. Blues Clues 2099. Don't have access to Mike Cam. Could the Namekian elder who wrote the Namekian Book of Legends be Neva? Did Yamoshi's story play out while both Namekians and Saiyans call the Demon Realm home? Well, we don't have confirmation the Saiyans are from there. However, it is possible that Neba wrote the book. We just don't know yet. I think that'd be a cool way to tie it into Super, how at the end of Daima we find out that he wrote the book. I wouldn't be against that. Yeah, I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
And
if the Saiyans are from the Demon Realm, then
yes. Your theory all depends on whether or not the Saiyans are from the Demon Realm, right?
Ugh.
And we don't know yet.
I hope they're not. Like, knock on wood, I hope they're not. Just because I don't want everyone to be from the Demon Realm.
Same. Alien Lizard Therapist. I love this guy's name. It ain't ending next year. Bare minimum at 3 to 5 more years of One Piece. There still needs to be the final war arc, finding Laugh Tale, and many more. Yeah, I am not a One Piece expert, bro. I'm far from it. I never claimed to be. I've got volume 1 right here. And One Piece fans are going to be pissed off about this. This is volume 1 of One Piece, right? I was going to read this about a month ago, and then that fucking hurricane hit and set me back about 2 weeks. So it's still there waiting to be read. That damn hurricane fucked up my life, bro. Speaking of people who got their lives fucked up over the hurricane, I'm going to bring JD on now. Hey, JD, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for your patience, bro. We're trying to give everybody equal time. This will probably be the last one because I got a piss, bro. Bro, I got pissed up to my eyeballs right now. If this goes too long, I might go to the bathroom and come back, bro. My kidneys are screaming. Or not my kidney, my bladder. Whatever. No rush, though. Of course, no rush.
Hard to follow up on that because so much stuff has been talked about. I just want to kind of say I've talked with Emish and Unreal a lot about Daima and kind of why it was its own thing. You know, Emish had said that he felt like this arc or this story could have easily just been a super arc right after the events of Superhero or post End of Z or something like that.
It could have been.
That's a fair argument. You know, for all the people that want the Super to want it to return or some kind of another movie, which we know that there's probably something else in the works. It makes perfect sense. The reason why I think they did Daima, other than the fact that they just need to have another project ready to go for the 40th anniversary, is really just because what Dragon Ball has done in its renaissance from 2013 to onward, it has set up the multiverse, it has set up the God hierarchy, it has set up the return of characters like Frieza, but it was always missing like another piece of the puzzle. And so a lot of people, if you watch Super Dragon Ball Heroes, you get that Demon Realm stuff, you get the Dark Kings, and this is something that it was never done by Toriyama. I mean, other than Dragon Ball Online, which has stuff that's set up after the events of the manga, sometimes hundreds of years out in the future with Hercule and the different races and the martial artists. We didn't have that.
But okay, hold on.
Same.
I got to take a leap, bro. I can't take it anymore.
I'm here.
But I've argued with Emish and Unreal, and I the way I view Daima right now is it's basically like a living Dazenju. A lot of those little nuggets of information from Toriyama interviews and stuff like that, you're kind of seeing that sprinkled in throughout this series. I think this series is going to have so much mythology, so much stuff that's going to kind of make us think about Super when it comes back, which is going to make it all the more better when it does return. But the thing that I'm hoping for, and Emish disagrees, he thinks that it's just going to be, you're going to get the Makaio Shin. We've seen some of the leaks that Geekdom's already reported, but I'm hoping we get something like a Dark King, some kind of threat that's hiding out and that'll soon be revealed, because like you guys have already mentioned, Mark, magic is a very versatile thing. Most of the original Dragon Ball manga was always about brute strength, power level, Zenkais, getting stronger, getting buffer, transformations galore, right? But when we got into the Super and we got introduced to the God hierarchy, it wasn't really so much about power, because Goku was always getting stronger and always losing. And we get, starting with really Universe 6, with Hit, right? Hit, like, especially in the manga version of the events, Hit was not stronger than Goku and Vegeta, especially when they went into their god forms. The reason why he was so strong was because of the Tokunobashi, which is a technique. Obviously, it's not magic based. I don't think Hit's from the Demon Realm, but with the with that change in the paradigm where Dragon Ball was always about brute power, and then you start getting more
I'm back.
technique-based
Sorry.
villains.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. I couldn't, bro. Go ahead.
It was one of your longest streams, to be fair. But yeah, like that paradigm shift from original Dragon Ball with it kind of being about brute strength and Zenkai powers and transformations, Super has now kind of furthered that in a different direction with techniques and mind states being a source of power, or being able to overcome someone who might be physically stronger. I mean, it's all summarized really at the end of Superhero when Vegeta's making comments about how Jiren was this crazy strong foe that they fought, keeping in mind the events of what's happened in the manga, but he wasn't that far away from them in terms of their physical peak. It was all about the mental components of ki, Yuki, Shoki, Genki, those things that Toriyama talked about way back in early Danzenshu volumes. And so with magic, which is a big thing in the Majin Buu arc, we need to see like a threat that really takes that a whole different direction. Moro was a great start because you got to see the whole, like, his magic really was just an area of effect energy siphoning ability, but you got to see different utilizations of it, gathering just natural forces of the of the planet he's on, like with the lava attacks on New Namek, the little energy rings where he can immobilize Goku when they were fighting on Earth. Obviously he can detect Dragon Balls, like he can actually sense them. That was something that I mean, honestly, Moro really seems like a perfect figure from the Demon Realm, so I mean, it just adds more credence to that theory. I mean, he's demons tend to live about 1,000 years or so, according to Pansy. So, like I told Emish, the Daima series is basically just a living Danzenshu. It's giving us all these little nuggets of wisdom that you could have inferred from the story if you were just reading it, right? That you didn't have to, like, it wasn't like you didn't have to have it explicitly told to you that Namekians were demons, but it was there. It was always there. The clothes beam, the fact that they make magical wishing words.
I think
you
talked about that a while ago yourself.
Yeah, and the review I did, I brought up those points, but
no, before the review,
even before the review, with when the Granola arc had mentioned the stuff with Elder Mori when he was talking to the little kid Namekians about how they travel from a different realm. A lot of people thought it'd be like the Dragon Realm from AF or something, but no, it was of course the Demon Realm. So I think the reason why they're doing Daima is they're just setting up threats that are probably going to be Majin Buu level, maybe up to Kid Buu. We'll see.
And it's also an anniversary series. They're paying tribute to everything Dragon Ball.
Well, like, I'm sorry.
Oh, go on.
I wanted to just kind of comment. I like the idea of it's kind of just like, it's a series that's meant to explore all these nooks and crannies in the entirety of the universe and all the stuff that Toriyama has created over the last couple of decades. But I think that works if there's going to be a season 2. I think every single episode of this show has and will continue to explore this world and world building for the entire series. Like you're saying, like, we've somewhat explored the multiverse. We've somewhat explored Gods of Destruction and all this other stuff through the stories they've told, but we haven't necessarily touched the Demon Realm, even though that has been a mainstay, or at least a known factor, for decades. We've done it in the other mediums like Dragon Ball Heroes and the other video games and stuff, but we haven't necessarily done it for a mainline series that is given the proper treatment. The reason is, like, I just don't know. We talked about it a little earlier. I just don't know if Dragon Ball Daima is going to be an ongoing series, or if it's just going to be like this limited event. I hope if it is an ongoing series, I think you're right. I think that it's just literally going to be a tool for exploring this world. And like I said earlier, if it ends on a cliffhanger that allows us to continue to explore, or puts us in a completely different situation where, again, as we've said multiple times, continuity isn't a factor. They do not care about Super in this show. They do not care about GT. They don't care about the ending of Z. They'll continue as long as they want, so long as people continue to watch and it continues to sell toys, video games, and advertising dollars. That's what they'll do. And it's what it can continue to do. Like, this is the Demon Realm. The next season can be something completely different, and all this other stuff that Toriyama created over his lifespan working on this series for so many years.
Yeah, Daima is I mean, the thing is, you were talking earlier if they're gonna like have a season 2 or whatever, a second core or whatever. I wonder if maybe they wanted to, and then maybe when Toriyama passed. The thing is that Akio has not specified what the plan is now that Toriyama's gone. We haven't gotten anything from him. All he said about a month ago, 6 weeks ago at the event, at the Daimatsuri event, was we have a lot more coming. He said there's more coming, stay tuned. He didn't specify what, he didn't specify when, and most importantly, he didn't specify who's doing it, where are we going. He's like, I guess he could be considered the Kevin Feige of this, but unlike Kevin Feige, he's not giving these awesome presentations with the timeline and all that. We don't ever see that. Like, I remember Unreal made one of those, with all these different ideas he had, and some of them came true. Not all of them though, but the point is that we haven't seen. I wish that the one. I don't want to say positive because it's not the right way to say it, but the one thing they can do when Toriyama's not, now that Toriyama's not there, is actually sit down and come up with a plan and stick to it. I just don't know if they will. I don't know if I don't know because I don't trust them either, to be honest with you.
The plan was always to get to the end of Z because Toyotaru, when he went to one of those conventions back in like,
but we're almost there, bro.
And we're almost there. We're within a year. So I mean, they can try to stretch as long as they can that last year, and maybe they will. But especially with Black Frieza, and people want to see that it is now safer to have Black Frieza take place after the end of Z for the stakes reason, as well as the fact that Goku, Vegeta, all the cast would be kind of caught up. I think one of the things about the Daima series, I don't think they're going to do it in the actual show just because of Super and kind of how it's overlooming that. But they need to set up like I said earlier to Mark before you left. They need to have, obviously we have the God hierarchy on the upper mortal universe. We know that's kind of how that progression goes. It's not unreasonable to say that there couldn't be some kind of God structure in the Demon Realm. We know we have the Demon King. It's just like in Super Dragon Ball Heroes, you have the Dark King. We've seen some of that with Demigra, with how he got power, how he absorbs power to become more and more stronger with that type of race, the core people or the Glens. But we need something like that set up. It doesn't have to show up in Daima, but it should be set up regardless of whether there's going to be a second season or not. As long as they set up something that's a God level threat where it warrants the characters from Super and their current power progression, then I think a lot of people will understand, especially like Emish and Unreal, why they did this that way. I mean, even if they had done, it's just like with when they do Moro. I want them to adapt Jacko the Galactic Patrolman because I think it's a great story, and they could do it in that.
A long time ago.
Should have happened a long time ago, but they did. Hey, they did Sandland. I didn't think they were going to do that.
That's true. That is true.
And with Toriyama's passing and the 4th anniversary, maybe they'll start doing more projects like that. But they could easily fit Jacko the Galactic Patrolman as like a filler arc, like how they did like the copy Vegeta arc and Super. They could do something like that where when Miras takes Goku and Vegeta and after they capture Majin Buu, when they're explaining the events of Broly in the manga, since they didn't show it in the manga, they could have like that slot be them telling Jacko the Galactic Patrolman and that story, and then just go right into the Moro arc. That's one way to do it, unless they do.
Or they could do like a 45-minute special. You can get that whole story down in 45 minutes. The Jacko story. It's not a very long manga.
But I think that's my reasoning for why they did Daima the way they did it, with like kind of having it be this like lore series, is because whatever they're going to do, whether it's crazy demon level threats, they're going to use that as fuel for future villains and stuff like that, and the future Super, hopefully past the end of Z point. And I also hope that this show, obviously you report on some of the leaks, but I really think they're going to hammer the importance of Oob. I mean, we already know that the Majin Buu arc is like the face of this arc. It's the whole reason why everything is playing out the way it is. But tying it back to Oob, and then let's just say the manga goes right into the 20th tournament, would be perfect, I think. I hope they just hammer the importance of Majins, or at least the power schema. That way when people see Oob again, obviously you didn't really need it, because like you said, Mark, it was kind of already like built in why Oob was so potential. But they added more to it in the Moro arc by making him have the inherited power of the Daikaio-shen. Obviously he's Kid Buu level, I mean, at least in terms of potential, but that's what I hope they hammer home. And then as far as like the theories about Super, I definitely think like the last guy that was on here, I think what they need to do is have Beerus be mortally wounded or killed. I joked with Geekdom a couple of streams when we were covering the superhero epilogue. It would be cool if Black Frieza just showed up right on Beerus's planet. People say, "Oh my God, how
months ago at this point, bro."
It's been a while. It's been a
Forever
while. It's
ago.
been a while.
Yeah.
But it would be cool if he just landed there. People ask, how could he do that? Of course, he's developed a sense of ki control and ki sensing, so he could totally do that now that Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are there. But it would be really cool if he had a big fight on Beerus's planet, and Beerus thinking he can just take out Frieza. He can't, or Frieza, like I said, having a scheme where he abducts Shen or something like that, because we know that he knows a lot about the universe. So it would be a great insurance to have the Kaioshin with you at all times. So that's what I'm hoping, some kind of crazy tension like that. But I think at this point, it's best to have that be at the post end of Z.
Right. We haven't even talked about, we didn't even cover that. Everyone wants to see Beerus go ham and get beat, but they could just as easily kill Shen and then there's like nothing.
It would just mean less because Beerus getting beat is a bigger deal.
Yeah, but like again, the more important thing there is that the God of Destruction and the Angel are no longer factors in the story, so there's actual stakes. Like you actually have to beat them by yourself with no kind of, we stepping into reverse time, distract Broly or anything else like that, or just the potential of Beerus saying, "I'm going to get in, but no, I'm not," and then that's just it.
One of the funniest things about Dragon Ball fans is a little bit of a sidebar when they make these connections that are just obviously not there. Like with the third eye, they're like, "Does that tie into Tien?" I'm like, "No, that's nothing." And then, the warp fish, is warp related to the Oracle fish? No, bro. There's more than. Not every fish is related, bro. Go out to the ocean and talk to some fish and find out how many there are and see if they're all secretly brother and sister. It doesn't work that way, bro.
Yeah.
People had a problem. I saw some of the comments. People had a problem where Shen and Deku, like the fact that they were siblings, they're like, "Oh, why is it?
They're all siblings, though."
I know, but if you knew that, if you had read the Denshu in those interviews, you would have known that.
I did my due diligence. I covered it years ago, and I covered it again recently.
But that's why, like I said, that's why I describe Daima as being a living Denshu. They're just all those little nuggets of wisdom.
That's what Lance said too.
Basically reading. They're just giving it a visual.
All it is just feeding videos for me to make. That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. Oh, I'll have to explain this and figure out how it ties into that. But I do think though that if Demon World 2 is the Glind homeworld, then it would make sense that that's where the core people are at, and that's where the tree is at. They could really tie everything back. We'll see. Probably sooner than later, because I would assume they're going to get to World 2 within 3 episodes, right? It can't be that long. They can't be stuck in this place forever.
Considering most of trailer 2, which is the one that showed, the first trailer, the last scene where like Goku's like wiping his face, that scene is where he's fighting. If you look at the hand, he's fighting the
Tamagami 3.
I think we're coming up on that scene. I don't know if it's next episode, but I would be within the next couple episodes. Yeah. I think we're gonna get that first fight because they're already hyping it up. Like, they're 4 days away apparently, so we'll see how quickly they get there.
And Vegeta's got to go down there, and Piccolo, and
that's gonna shake up the show.
I think the first fight with the Tamagamas, I think it's going to be just Goku. I mean, it could be like the party B could get. It there might start with
just Goku, and then the other
but
will join.
based off the trailer and stuff, I think it's just going to be a Goku fight. He's going to realize, oh wow, these guys are real tough. I'm going to need. Shows up. I think the World 2, because you see it in the ending credit, or no, the opening, it's water based because of course you see the Namekian world, and then
it looks like Namek and looks like Supreme Kai world, like that's where they're from. It has to be.
I think Piccolo's gonna have an involvement in that fight, and then the first world, the world where we already saw the Tamagami,
the main one, number one. Yeah, that's the last one.
Yeah, Goku and Vegeta. I think everyone's gonna be involved in that fight, and you see them obviously Super Saiyan. We might see other forms. So
fusion. So Fusion's certainly going to come into this.
I do want to make a.
I don't think it'll be Vegito though. I think it'll be somebody else.
It's going to be somebody else.
It can't. It literally cannot be Gogeta or Vegito because their personalities, their character makeup is as a result of those fusions.
Right. What about Piccolo fusing with Supreme Kai?
That would be cool. I honestly think they
That's
need to
that's gonna
sell.
look
They need to sell
weird.
these characters. They need to sell these characters. So a lot of people are already saying it's Goku and Glorio or Goku and Shen. We've actually seen something similar to Goku and Shen, besides of course Fusamasu. Dragon Ball Fusion is one of the best Dragon Ball games in my opinion. They did a fusion where it was like Kid Goku and
Yes, they
Zama's,
did.
and it was a little bit weird in hairstyle wise,
All the fusions look weird.
but I mean, Caroli was actually pretty good in my opinion. But
They
I
still
want to
look weird.
see a Goku and Shin fusion just because like they really are kind of pushing that relationship. But I think Goku Glorio, because the bugs like it shows on the poster 3 people. Some people are saying it might be a 3-person fusion. That would be again that's just like Dragon Ball Fusion where you have like the 5-person fusion thing that you can see. I don't know. I don't want to see that. I want to see something like a Goku Glorio or a Goku and Shen fusion. We might still see the obvious Goku Vegeta, but I think that whatever the fusion is going to be, it's going to have demon ears. I think it's going to cause them to have demon ears, and it's going to have them in terms of like the demon attire. There's going to be some kind of makeup like that. I don't know if it's going to be like the Patara fusion where it like inverts the clothings together. I'm not too sure on that, but since we know that Patara is a magic kind of utilization, I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but I am excited. It's a good thing that they're thinking fusion because it is a sequel to the Buu arc.
I'm excited too.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, that's pretty much all we have today. Let me see. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up with that. If anybody else, we're gonna take any more calls, so we're gonna pretty much wrap it up. Thank you, JD, for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you both.
No problem. I'm tired. I know you were supposed to be on for only a couple hours. We're going to wrap before we hit 3 hours. Thanks everybody for checking out the stream. I'm scheduled to come back next week with Stephanie, and not it'll be the week after. I'll figure everything out with her. But the links in the description to KRW and to it goes to both Real to Real and KRW, but KRW is the big one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm actually actively working on.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. But for now, we're out. Take care. Have a good one, y'all. See you next time.